Hey everyone, how's it all going? What's up? How you doing? It's a bit of a surprise. If you're watching this live, you won't have seen this, but if you're watching it on the replay on the tomorrow or Monday or wherever, you'll get this bonus like 3 minutes extra of me just sat here having a beer. I've no idea what's going to happen tonight. It could be just me sat here drinking beer, talking about records. There could be a couple of people coming in. There could be 3 people coming in. There could be 10 people coming in. There could be a bunch of people I know, a bunch of people I don't know. It's going to be a great time. So hopefully when you're watching this, it'll have sort of turned out to be a good episode. So cheers, everyone. I was actually listening to this morning. This isn't one of my picks for today, but JB Hutto and his Hawks. It's like some old Chicago blues. Love this record. This probably could have been like one of my proper picks on another episode, but no, it probably won't be now. But yeah, you know what? I like the Chicago blues style. I love it, but it's really kind of responsible for a lot of bad imitators. You know, if you go to a pub, there's going to be some white guys playing a sort of really bad version of this. This record rips. JB Hutto and his Hawks. With Sunnyland Slim, the Hawk squat on Delmark, came out of Chicago in the 60s. It's just, they're on fire, like the whole set. It's that ding, 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 which, when done right, is just, it's just so good. I love Chicago blues. Love the original Chicago blues. It's hard to beat, but there's a lot of sort of bad imitations that sort of came later in the 80s and the 90s, and probably even to this day, I want to say. So check this record out. It's cheap. You can find it. Delmark 67, Chicago. JB Hutto and his Hawks. Hutto's the vocalist and the guitarist, and Sunnyland Slim is on the piano and organ. So I probably could have saved this one for another episode, but I thought I'd do an extra before we get going. All right, so it's almost 10 o'clock. Almost time to officially start the free for all. Like I said, I have no idea how this is going to go. It should be fun either way. So, hey, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. How you doing?
Mike, Daniel. How's it going?
Tony, Hazel. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Everything is perfect.
Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we got you. I'm going to have to be a demon on the mouse tonight if people keep like jumping in. I've got to like keep moving people around. Should I get rid of that? Everyone knows where the link is, don't they? The room link is at the top of the chat. You'll see it. It's easy. It's right at the top. It's there. Let's get rid of that. It's not necessary. Instead, let's do the housekeeping, as we always do. There we go. We'll get rid of the rumors at the link, and then like and subscribe. There we go. As usual, like and subscribe. Familiar territory for everyone. There we go. Let's get rid of that. Robert's in the chat. How you doing? Hey, Brian's in the chat. Come on in if you're feeling lively. God.
Sounds relaxing.
Just what we needed. I guess we should just sort of get going, eh? Let's get started. Let's do this. We can't hang around for Johnny come latelys. Let's get started. Everybody got some records? Of course you have. Of course you have. Daniel, can you hear me? Daniel, can you hear me?
He was coming through, but now maybe not. I'm not sure.
Oh, well. All right. So I've got a theme tonight because, I had this I kept having this recurring nightmare that I'd just be sat here by myself for an hour. So I thought I'd better get prepared, have a theme, something to talk about. And this, if I ended up being by myself, this could probably just be a standalone like podcast, like by itself. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about Japan, like in the 80s, when Japan was very rich. It was the bubble economy. There was a lot of money being thrown at punk rock, and a lot of majors were kind of signing up punk bands in the 80s. And I got a bunch of different bands that I really like that I'm going to talk about that haven't really been talked about much yet on the show. And we're going to dive into some records. And another thing about all these records is they're mostly cheap. So if you come to Japan, you can if you come to Japan, which Tony often does, and Tony's probably seen these records a million times in the cheap bins. But I love some of these records, and nobody ever talks about these records, perhaps for a reason. They're not rare records, they're not cool records, they're just good punk records from Japan from the 80s. So that's what I'm going to talk about. So my first pick is Laughin' Nose. Everybody knows Laughin' Nose. I mean, Laughin' Nose, it's amazing. Like, they were on the first, like, big four, like, Japanese compilation albums. They were on Great Punk Hits. They were on Hardcore Unlawful Assembly. They were on Outsider. And they were on the Punks. They were on, like, those. They're the big four, the big four of early Japanese punk. They were on all of those compilations, but way more hardcore. They were kind of a pretty noisy hardcore band back then. And then all of a sudden in 1985, a label called VAP came along. Now, are you guys familiar with VAP at all? Let me fill you in about. So VAP is basically a label that's owned by Nippon TV, big Japanese TV network. They do like Anpanman and stuff like that. I think it's a huge like TV network. But what I didn't know until like I was doing a bit more research is in fact they're owned by the Yomiuri Shimbun, which is like one of the biggest or the second biggest newspaper in Japan, and they're actually quite right leaning these days. I don't know how they were in the 80s. So people know VAP because you've probably got things like this: GBH records, Japanese pressings on VAP, Discharge, Disorder, Chaos UK, Abrasive Wheels, Alien Sex Fiend, with these like classic OBs, the classic green center labels. So a lot of, people's favorite British bands were on a major label in Japan in the 80s, being, run by a sort of right-leaning Japanese newspaper. They didn't know that. But so Laughing Nose gets signed to VAP. What do you think is going to happen? Are they going to, still be playing the noisy stuff they were playing back then? No, of course they're not. Because VAP needed some pop stars, and they wanted to mold Laughing Nose into a pop group, and they did a pretty good job of it. So I'm going to show some Laughing Nose records. They have 3. This is the debut. You've seen this, right? You've seen him.
Yeah.
This one, lurking in the racks. This is like so. It's like about as lightweight as you can get while still being punk. It's not really like pop punk. It's just sort of rock and rollsy, happy-go-lucky, sing-along a punk. And actually, it kind of reminds me of like what some of the UK bands ended up doing, with their second or third LPs. It's like really lightweight. The songs ain't that great. They re-recorded Get the Glory in a sort of super happy-go-lucky sing-along style. I don't mind this record. There's like strings on it. There's sort of like almost like ballads on it. But you can totally tell us, okay, we can do something with these guys. We're going to kind of mold them into a pop band, and they did. They became huge. They were playing stadiums like schoolgirl fan base, screaming schoolgirls at the
Like
shows.
Blue Heart's big, like
Yeah, I mean, like kind of as almost as big as that, like Gas Tank too. Like Gas Tank also became like super big around this time. So like this isn't my official pick, but like this is where it all began. The VAP years of like Laughing Nose. And then there's this one which is, along the same lines. Everybody, if you've been to Japan, you've seen this in the bins. It's a 4-track 12-inch. It's, as I said, it's like the lightest, it's almost like Sunday night punk, almost actually. Actually, this is great Sunday punk music, actually. Sunday night punk. It's so light, but it's like no post-punk. It's just like the lightest punk you can get. But I think they kind of redeemed themselves on the next one. I reckon they were like, you know what? We're not having any more of this. We're tired of, you newspaper people, telling us what to do. We want to go back to our roots. And I think that there was sort of a little bit of a compromise. And I think VAP sort of let them let loose a little bit more on this record. So I think this is great. This one. This is the one. Laughin' Roll. 1986. This one, it's still lightweight, but you can tell we want to get back to like doing what we like, Charmy vocals, have a bit more sort of bile in them. He sounds a bit more angry. This is a great record. So, if you're in Japan and you see all these like Laughing Nose records coming up. Yeah.
I've seen them before, and the thing that always threw me off was the headband on the lead singer. Because
this isn't him.
Yeah, no, but like on the other record, and it just kind of
Exhibit A.
Yeah, and on the one before, and I was like, that headband confused me about how this is actually going to sound. I was like, there's a possibility that it's going to throw me off.
Fair. It's like playing tennis punk. I don't know. Don't worry about the headband. It's okay. It's not the worst thing about this.
No, yeah. Like
wearing a headband on the first record too. So yeah.
That one, the first one's the one I've seen, and I think I saw it in New York at
this
there's
one
a
is
record
always
store
like
there
a little bit more than the others because I think it's the best one. That's maybe why it's almost a bit more expensive. But this is a great punk record. Buy this if you see it in Japan. It's a good punk record. And then after this, they left VAP. They got signed to Spearhead, which is a Toshiba, again, another major label. And yes, they went to America and recorded a record with Ron St. Germain, like a hard rock record called Meat Market. I should have pulled that one out too. But so yeah, there was a big switch, like suddenly when they left VAP and then kind of went back to. But all like the 90s stuff is great. All the like the 90s Laughing Nose stuff is great. They kind of went back to more like noisy stuff. But I really have like a sweet spot, a soft spot for this sort of like super, super lightweight mid-80s.
I'm really curious about that second record.
Yes, it was. Yeah, Gas Tank they went to LA hanging out with Metallica and, a lot of money going around, in Japan at the time. Let's send Gas Tank to LA to record an LP. Why not? It's like, it's pretty crazy. So
Mike, I gotta say that VAP had their, fingers in a lot of weird pies. They did all those Discharge records. But some people were saying in the comments they also did the only SST Japanese pressing with an Obi. They did My War, which painfully I still need. Whatever trips I make to Japan, I never see one with the Obi ever. So it kind of pains
harder
me.
and harder to find. Yeah, that and Blitz first LP as well. They did.
Yeah. I do have a. They also did a Black Sabbath live Never Say Die tour Laserdisc that has an OP, which I also have. So I guess they were in the Laserdisc market, the Laserdisc music market, as well. So
they just must have had their offices were in like the Nippon TV building, like huge building in downtown Tokyo. They must have just had like these offices where they employed like people that knew a bit about punk. It's like, can you get some British punk bands to sort of do some stuff for us? And like, I guess that kind of how it happened. But yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I know. I'm fascinated with all this stuff just because the economic situation in Japan at the time, and like it's fascinating to me. And I'm still fascinated by it now, and I still haven't learned as much as I could do. But that was my first pick. It was kind of long. I went almost 15 minutes on Laughing Nose, but what are you gonna do? All right, Hazel. What's your first pick?
All right, so I didn't look at the list or anything. If I pick something that somebody else talked about, just yell at me and I'll grab something else from the pile. But we're gonna stay in Japan.
Oh, nice.
So there's a particular style of like fast hardcore that I associate with Sound Pollution Records. They were putting out a lot of records by bands that were playing like really fast, like blast or sub-blast speed, but that are also kind of catchy in a unique way. Hell Nation, of course, being like a great example of that. But one real standout record that Sound Pollution put out that to me is like an ideal of this style of fast hardcore that I'm getting at is the Mind Evasion Akai Hana 7-inch from 2003. Real like all-time favorite of mine. I saw this band 4 times because they toured the US twice, and I caught their Philly and Baltimore shows on both tours. Fantastic live. People get mad at me. This is my like 4th of July hot take. So the first time I saw them, they played a basement show in Philly that was a night show that came after a day show that was Forward, Warhead, and Tragedy. And my favorite set of the day was theirs. And people get mad at me about this all the time, but it's true. And that's not a slight on the other bands at all. They were all great, but this one was like a little extra fierce. And it was also in like a tight basement, and everybody was already like super fired up from having been at another really good show. But musically, it's like very fast. It's like blast or just under blast speed for a lot of it, but there's also a lot of like mid-tempo guitar parts and like sort of breakdowns. And there's a really cool part with the Japanese instrument that's like a samishin, I think is how you say it, that splits things up. That was really cool. And they did that live all the times I saw them too, which was really fun to watch because the singer would play this intro while the rest of the band was like taking a tuning break or whatever. And then in the span of like a split second, they would start the song and she'd like toss it away very delicately and like go into yelling. And really cool. So stand out of that genre. I really love a lot of like super fast hardcore bands, especially when they add something to it like this. And it's one of my top tier releases in that style. I still listen to it a lot. They have a bunch of other records that came out, but I think this one's my favorite because it's that like short and sweet, like all powerful, like no filler, just like exactly the kind of like high energy, short and like over before you have a chance to miss it. Like just really good for that style. And I would strongly recommend it. They're not a band that I hear people like still talk about much, but for people who missed them or for younger viewers or whatever, highly recommend it.
Younger viewers.
They did 2 CDs, which I own, which is the only way I ever heard them. Because when I remember those tours, I was in Florida and they came nowhere near. And but I love that band and they're really good.
Yeah, I should say, Hazel, that Baltimore show was in Celebrated Summer, was in my record store.
It was.
Yeah. It was Mind Evasion and Mindset. We put 2 mind bands together. They were very different, but it was fun. And it was an awesome show. It's like one of my favorites that we ever did at the spot. And Mind Evasion are so sick. They were such a great band.
Yeah, it was really cool. And the other Baltimore show, which was like 2 years before that, was at the Jerk store with like 10 bands. You had like Yakopsai and Unholy Grave and Catheter. And, like,
I went to that one
bunch
too.
Of stuff.
I went to that one as well. Yeah. Wow. That was killer.
I've never owned that record, but I've seen them live a couple of times, and they were. I realize now that they were good, but I was too narrow-minded back then. I was all about the Burning Spirits and Warhead and Forward, and I'd appreciate it much more now, I think, than I did back then. What's that other band that are kind of similar? No Value?
Yeah, and I think they did stuff on Sound Pollution too.
Do you remember Yellow Machine Gun?
Yes.
like I always kind of had them together a little bit in my head. Like,
okay,
I guess maybe because I probably got their CDs together at some point, but like Yellow Machine Gun also did some really great fast hardcore shit.
Yellow Machine Gun is from Osaka, and they were like, it's weird. They were sort of like a howling bull band, and they would often play with like the Garlic Boys and bands like that, and sometimes SOB. But they were sort of in another sort of different sub scene in Osaka. Yeah, like
But
they would not play together. I don't think those two, but they were like sort of heading more for the big time kind of a band, like Howling Bull, looking more towards being on a bigger label kind of thing.
I just remember that one record of theirs is just so fucking angry and
Spot
like,
Remover.
Yeah, just great
I mean,
record.
they did a split 7-inch with SOD. Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh,
Tony,
this has never happened before.
Hi, Rachel.
This conversation is making me think of another Sound Pollution record, and I was just like, I don't own it, and it kind of drives me crazy. It was a band called Fasts. They were also from Japan, and Sound Pollution put them out, and it's also just like super blasting, but very catchy. Very catchy at the same time, and that made me think, geez, why didn't I just grab the Sprouts record, which is another band that I just like absolutely love. It's like a 15-song 7-inch of like one part Teen Generate and one part like thrash, I guess. Just kind of put it together very very well. So yeah, definitely. I think both of those were on Sound Pollution. I think the Sprouts 45 was for sure on Sound Pollution. I saw them once when I was over there, and they wore like kind of like suit and tie was like their vibe, kind of like a Teen Generate, kind of garage rock look. And I just remember the drummer was maybe the singer, and he had these like huge 1970s Howard Cosell like headphones with a microphone, and he sang with that microphone while he was playing drums at the same time. It was pretty crazy. It was definitely really fun. So anyway, but I didn't pick any of those things because I wasn't thinking about it until just now. So anyway, I had something that was just on the top of my listening pile. I can be real hit or miss with like real proper noise rock. The record store that I worked at in the 90s was Reptilian Records, and they were like, my boss Chris was obsessed with noise rock. Like it was just only Unsane and just like heavy AmRep influence all the time, and some of that stuff would like get through to me, and I would be like, whoa, this record's amazing. And other things I would just be like, this is too far away from power violence or hardcore or something. I just couldn't hang with it or whatever. But there were certain releases that would come out that like just really hit me the right way. And anyway, this band is on Reptilian Records, which still exists, not as a record store anymore, but as a label. And this band is from Baltimore, and they're called Birth Defects. Let's see if I don't know if I can do a good job of, there we go, sort of. There's a little glare happening here. But they were a band for a while, and then they broke up. I think they didn't finish recording this record, and then just recently got together, finished the record. Reptilian put it out, and then they played a show in Baltimore and claimed that they're broken up now, but I think there's a chance that they're going to be in Japan actually at some point next year or later this year or something like that. I think I might have heard that they might be there, but it's total AmRep style noise rock, but it really takes some of the best of those influences. There's a record which maybe I've even pulled for the show before, Mike, called Heroin Man by the Cherubs. It's just it's really a standout in the style. It like just leaps and bounds over other kind of noise rock records. And so this Birth Defects record, kind of one part of it is like just really like over the top awesome Cherubs kind of noise rock. And then maybe just because of the age of the people that are in the band, there's this like Nirvana kind of like incesticide kind of influence as well. So it just makes it catchy, but it never stops being like totally abrasive noise rock. So I guess like noise rock for people that don't like noise rock, because it's like I can be again just so hit or miss with it, but they really take all the best aspects and like kind of put it together, and the record is just like super awesome. So anyway, but yeah, that's my pick. More people coming on.
Yes. Hi.
Hey everyone. That's so crazy that you mentioned that band, because I'm an audio engineer and I just recorded them for a live set on WFMU in Jersey City.
Oh, that's awesome!
Like a month ago. So okay, this is what they said. They did say, like, I think everything you said is really accurate, because they were kind of like, this tour. They did a short tour. It was like New York, Baltimore, maybe Philly, a couple other dates, and they were basically like, after this tour, like that's pretty much it, unless there's a chance we'll go to Japan. And if we go to Japan, like that's the only way. Like the guy who started it was basically like, the only way that I'll like stay, like if we get to go to Japan, like we'll do it basically. But other than that,
right.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're basically like, other than that, unless there's a new No Trend record, like we're breaking up like for good. But they're really cool. Like they have one guy that just does like noise, and he had like a sheet of metal with contact mics and like a chain and all this stuff. Like they're really fun to record. Really noisy and just kind of crazy, but in the best way.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
they were really cool.
It's not just noise for the sake of noise. There's definitely some real cool catchiness, and they can write a proper song and just keep it being like also super abrasive, at the same time. So that's wild. That's cool that you recorded them. That's great.
Yeah. Someone asked what show it's for. It's for the Anti-Music Club with Landfill, which is on from 3 to 6 a.m. Eastern time on Mondays in every week. It's like tends to be heavier stuff, kind of experimental sometimes.
Cool.
Yeah, totally.
Nice.
It's probably a better time for people in Europe.
It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, now it's like 3 o'clock in the morning or something, right now.
No, it's like 10:30. It's like 10:30 or something.
Okay, all right. All right, I've got to keep track of this. Rachel, it's your first pick, right?
I guess, isn't it Daniel's turn?
Daniel, technically, yes. Let's move Daniel back. There you got it.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah, all right, Daniel.
All right, so I just kind of grabbed what it was on top of my record player, and I had some stuff. I had that new Alienator record that seems to be getting a lot of love. It's just so playable. And then I had something that this band CWFEN Coffin. It's like shoegaze, doom / black metal from Scotland. Very, very weird and good. But I wanted to talk about this record.
Oh, okay. Let's have it.
Yeah, because it's just, I need to talk about this with someone. Chainmail Commandos by Steroid. When I heard it, I was like, I don't think I can like this, because the vocals on it are, I've had it, my friend who kind of showed me this was like, it sounds like Qbert, the little bird from the video game. And I was like, I can't imagine this. And I was listening to it, and in my head, I hear like Butters from South Park. It sounds like a child or a child cartoon. Anyway, musically, it's so good. It's like early new wave of British heavy metal with like a really punk kind of aesthetic to it. A lot of the stuff online about it says that it's very egg punk adjacent. I think it's tagged on Bandcamp as new wave of eggy metal. It's a one-man band, and it's the guitars on it, the guitar writing on it is like so catchy, so like anthemic, but in that low key kind of like early Manila Road kind of way. And like, I cannot stop listening to it. Because one's the thing with the vocal, because when I first heard it, I was like, this is a joke. It's a one-man band. Like, that vocal is clearly like, you're doing this on purpose to make people laugh. But the more I listen to it, it's very kind of like anthemic, like Rock Your Own Way, Arena Show, Rockin' Alone, Warzone in the City. It's very like fist pumpy, fucking like early 80s, late 70s stuff. Yeah, like Chipmunk vocals. Yes, like you can't say no. But it's one of my favorite things that's come out like all year. Like I cannot stop listening to this record. And like it took that Alienator record off my turntable, which I was like just flipping back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Wow.
I just needed to talk because, you know, I live in Arkansas with my girlfriend who doesn't listen to heavy music. So I couldn't explain to anyone like it's metal, but it's punk and it's got Chipmunk vocals and have them like get how fucking weird it is. So I'm just using you guys for that tonight.
Okay.
But yeah, Crypt of the Wizard, the label that put it out, this is the first press.
Oh, yeah.
They just today dropped a second press. So if anybody has heard it and was, because it was fucking impossible to get for a little bit, it's out there. I saw on La Vida es un Mus on their upcomings. I think they're gonna do a pressing of it. But like, yeah, it's weird and I love it to death. And like, it's just the more I listen to it, the more I like it.
Wow. Did you
go back 1 second? Did you say that Qbert is a bird?
Isn't he?
I never thought he was.
I've always thought he was a bird.
I mean, I guess I can see how you could think that, but it's
kind
just a bird that doesn't exist.
Is he like an aardvark or something? Is he like, because he's got the like
he's got the long nose, like
yeah.
I'll say this on the cover, like it's all this like metal imagery, but like this little boy kind of like figure.
Hey.
And I was like, yeah, that kind of when I actually paid attention to it, and I was like, that clicks. Hey, Paul.
What's up?
But yeah, so I can back those 3 records that are fairly new, that Coffin, that Alienator, and this weird as fuck thing that's just gonna fuck with me all fucking year.
You feel better now that you've been able to talk about it?
I got it off my chest with people who understand. And like I still don't know what egg is, but okay, sure.
Somebody needs to tell us what Qbert actually is in the comments.
I just looked him up.
Yeah.
He looks like the same kind of thing as like the Philly Fanatic sports mascot, where it's just this weird like round-faced guy with like a tube mouth. And I have no idea what.
A baby
real world animal.
So sorry. I actually played Qbert in real time because I'm so old. I know what he looks like, but I was just curious if like what he's supposed to be.
Okay.
Like, so you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Do we know? Or is he just Qbert? I don't know.
Yeah.
He's a bird.
It sounds like that. It's a bird to me. I don't know. It's always been.
All right. Rachel, what's your
Okay. I also did the grab what is on the record player. And I ended up with a slight theme. Are we just showing all our records at once, or what are we doing? Just whatever.
Whatever.
This record like just fits the theme of today in the United States. It's Galaxy 500 on fire. It does have 4th of July. Yeah. Wait, does it? I can't read it. Anyway, but that's not my pick.
Oh shit.
My pick, I'm not sure if anybody has shown it before. I haven't seen it getting like a ton of hype. It's the new record by Hecate from Greece. Their last record came out like, I don't know, like 5-6 years ago, something like that. They're amazing. I think they're from Athens. Their previous record was it was synthy punk. This record is more synth pop, like It's still got a punk edge to it. It's still like super political, really like feminist punk. They're all women, but it's a lot more like kind of. It's a little less like aggressive and punk.
When did that come out? Because I really liked the first one. I didn't know that there was a second one.
It came out like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
And then there's a song on here. I forget what, I think it's called Ricochet. That sounds like more like Chumbawamba than any other band that I've ever heard that is not Chumbawamba. It's really good. It's like a dancey kind of song. It has this like theatrical fake flight attendant announcement about like you're entering into Greece, and it's all full of like puns about like you know make sure you move to the right or whatever, like all these like kind of corny musical theater shit that is so Chumbawamba. Yet it's like a British woman speaking, even though I don't think anyone in the band is. I'm not sure who the vocalist is on it. I tried to find like they don't credit the person singing on the song. But yeah, this is amazing. Their first record was great. This record is just as great. And they're like lovely people. And the theme of records that I have is like bands or members of bands that were on compilations that I put out recently. And Hecate is on the new comp I just put out. So yeah, I love this record. I love this band. They're really, really sweet people. And I think everyone should listen to them if you're into like synth pop or synth punk.
Yeah, first record's great. I've got to check that one out.
Yeah.
Their track on your new comp is great. I was a big fan.
It's a great song. It's the opening track. And it's what was I gonna say about them? Oh, this one, their last record was on La Vida Samus. This record is on God, I can't read anything. Mascara Rocks.
All right.
Records, which I think is a French label. So yeah. I'm not sure why they changed labels, but it might be part of why. Like if they're on La Vida, if it was on La Vida Samus, everybody would have gotten an email when it came out.
Yeah, right.
What's the new comp?
What's that?
What's the new comp?
Oh, it's called Olive Seeds. It's a benefit for mutual aid in Gaza. It's on the Dissidents Bandcamp. If anyone is interested. It has Kate. It has a new song from Homefront that they recorded like 2 days before the comp came out. With a bunch of bands.
Nice, I found it. Awesome.
All right. Kay, do you have anything?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so this might kind of go a little bit along the lines of racial, but because this is definitely more in the synth realm of things, and this is a reissue of a Black Tape for a Blue Girl record, probably their best known album, as one Aflame laid bare by Desire. And if you're not familiar with this band, I would say if you like Dead Can Dance and you like stuff that's maybe a little more neoclassical, not as much world music as Dead Can Dance, but definitely that kind of like gothy vibe. This album's really cool. There's no drums. It's not really like a rock band kind of ensemble. There's like violin, flute, female vocals, male vocals, and there's also like synth and electronics. And it's interesting because like it's very inspired by this Marcel Duchamp the Bachelor strip, the Bride strip bare by her bachelors. So yeah, it's a little bit conceptual, and it's got all this artwork that kind of like goes along with that. But yeah, it's really cool. Like what I like about this album more so than other Black Tape stuff that I've heard is like it kind of all flows as like a cohesive whole, and kind of tells a story. And if anyone knows like Project Records with a K, this is basically Sam Rosenthal from Project Records, his band that's been around since like 1986. And it's like, it's very kind of like romantic. it's dark, but not in a depressing way. I would say it's very kind of like classically goth, I guess. But yeah, it's got some really great. Some of the instrumentals on it are really good, and it's got really cool vocals. It's got like the original Black Tape vocalist, and if you're not familiar with this band, it's kind of like a rotating cast of characters that he's the only like through line, and there's been different iterations. So it seems like it's like whoever he would recruit for the band, and all the music's by Sam Rosenthal, and he kind of approaches it like a film director. Yeah, it's cool. It's good for like sad girl vibes. It's not like it's not even necessarily that sad, but I think it's just kind of like, I think the theme is like the transformation of like the virgin into the bride, and it's like kind of like leaving behind an old self, and it's like metamorphosis or something. So it's like pretty conceptual, but it's not like complex music. So I think it's like kind of easy to get into. And yeah, if you like synthy stuff or like dark wave stuff, I would definitely check that out. That's pretty good stuff.
Hey, Paul.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
Doing good.
Yeah.
What you been listening to?
Oh, jeez. There ain't a lot of dead black people. It was all Alice Clark, Doris Duke, and Linda Jones. I was out on the porch grilling, and decided to depress my wife by playing some of the most depressing soul women you could ever listen to. While the rest of the neighborhood blew up everything. God bless America, huh? So yeah, so that's what I did today, and did that, and then I used to, well, for years I did security at bars and clubs and all that, blah blah blah. At the one place, Niagara in New York, on Monday nights we used to have like this jazz thing going on downstairs, basement, and remember this guy Will Connell Jr. He was older. I don't remember how old he was exactly, but long story long, he was a great guy. We became good friends. Older black guy, total jazz head. Jazz, well, like, Charlie Park, all that stuff, a whole bunch of stuff that I don't know nothing about. But it was just a sweetheart of a guy, funny, great sense of humor. And he'd come by, we just bust balls and hang out or whatever, And he played the jazz. It's a shit show. You don't know what the hell's going on. You know what I mean? It's like, and I'm listening like to a lot of the records you guys are talking about. I don't know what the fucking people are talking about. This is what his music was, very very similar to that, And I finally he played on a Chico Rodriguez. I forget the guy's name. He played on this one jazz guy's record on Blue Note, I think it was, but he played sax on it. But he had a band that I found out about. I just fucking found this record. And it's backwards on here. It's called Commitment is the name of the band. That's Will right there.
Oh.
And he plays sax and flute on this record.
Oh.
His violin on this. It's a fucking mad. It's crazy. I guess it's jazz. I don't know. It's on Flying Panda Records. 1981. And I put it on, and it's an acquired taste would be kind to say. And I put it on. I think about this guy. I think the whole thing with ghosts and spirits and all this, everybody, angels, whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? There's energy out there that I think it follows you around, like certain people, whatever. And I definitely think Will's been following me around since he passed a few years back. Because I think about this guy at least 3 times a day for no friggin' reason whatsoever. It's not like we were the best of friends or whatever. We just knew each other and we enjoyed each other's company. He had the best racist jokes. He was just a pisser. He was a funny man. And he would come by and visit me at my other jobs too. But I said they're babysitting the drunk white people or whatever. And I've been listening to that, and it's been a trip.
What's the name of the band again?
The name of it was Commitment. Commitment. It came out in 1981. Flying Panda record. Yeah, you can find it for like probably $5 someplace. You know what I mean? It was an independent label out of Brooklyn, St. John's. I don't know what the street was. It was called or whatever. And he used to run the jazz thing in the basement, and he'd always have a bunch of people coming in. He'd have like the young blue-eyed jazz cats coming down sometimes, and whatever, and like a bunch of older black guys down there, and they'd be down there for hours, just bashing away and doing their bit, and it was fun. They were having a good time. They were pushing their shit, and he was just a great guy, just a really, really, really great guy. I miss him.
So, Paul, what years are we talking about? Like when you saw those bands playing down there at Niagara? What's the time frame?
When he was running the jazz thing down there, that was in the early 2000s, early mid 2000s.
Already.
Yeah, he was down there right in the basement, and he was down. Yeah, he run every Monday nights. Every Monday nights he down there.
That's cool. I used to live on 6th Street between Avenues A and B. So it's just right around the corner.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked there in the early 2000s or whatever. I worked there for a couple of years or whatever. So many freaking bars and clubs on there. Not to the brig, but you had to do it.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. It was a cool time. It was a cool time, and he was a good guy. And like I said, he passed it over my head like 2008 for no fucking reason whatsoever. It's crazy. It really is. So yeah, that's been listening to that, and it's like a lot of old like soul stuff. I don't know why. It's not really sub music. You know what I mean? I mean, some of it is, but I always I don't know, for some reason spring. I don't know why. I picture my music a lot of times started listening to it with the seasons or whatever. Like
totally, yeah.
Like winter time, UK 82 all the way. You know what I mean? Cold and miserable. Stuff like that. Summertime. I've been listening to a lot of Susie and the Banshees lately too.
You've been listening to a lot of Susie and the Banshees lately, right? I've seen that.
A lot. I'm like I told you, I'm redoing my collection I had of her albums. Now I'm redoing them. I'm getting the Japanese pressings for that precious Obi.
Obies.
Yeah, it's just total nerd shit. Nothing else to do. What is the working class? What is the working class supposed to do? Spend your money on shit you don't need.
All right, Kevin, I think you got one record, right? And then you're going to head out? Or
I only have one. I've got a lot of obligations. I'm a busy man. But
you are a busy man.
I'd just like to say thank you to Mike Foster for letting me come on today. He and I, we've been friends for like about 26 years.
He's my oldest Japanese friend.
Except I'm from New Zealand, right?
Yeah, I know.
What are you going to do with that? But thank you very much. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to, I'm 50 years old now. No secrets. No bragging, nothing like that. But when I was 15 years old, there was an album came out in New Zealand by a New Zealand artist by the name of Chris Knox. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with him, but he used to be in a band called The Enemy. After that, he was in a more well-known, successful band on Flying Nun Records called Toy Love. And then after that, he was in a band called the Tall Dwarfs. So I'm a big fan of a lot of the Flying Nun stuff. This is how I grew up when I was younger. I played in punk and hardcore bands in New Zealand, like growing up like from the age of 14, basically. And so by the time I was kind of at the age where I could go to university, I was already like playing in bands, and we would get like offers to go and like play like support acts for some of the Flying Nuns bands that were coming through on the orientation tours of New Zealand. So university orientation, lots of cultural musical events and things like that where you can see some incredible bands. And so the album I want to introduce is Seizure by Chris Knox. This is the reissue. It's a different cover from the original, but I was really happy that this came out. To describe this, I would just have to say probably the most perfectly written lo-fi pop, super fuzzed out, extremely catchy, beautiful melodies, beautiful vocals. I couldn't imagine a person listening to this and saying that it's bad music, no matter what you listened to in your background before. And I would just like to recommend that to everybody if you get a chance to check that out. Chris Knox, Seizure. I had the opportunity to meet the man. He was playing at the university where I was studying. He did like a solo show. So all of this, his solo stuff is just basically him through a fuzz box, just playing super distorted melodies. And he did about, I think, 4 solo albums. I got to see him one time, and absolutely fantastic. Just like such, how would you say it? Like extremely charismatic. Exactly, not given lightly. Incredibly beautiful song. Incredible charisma. One of the punkest guys you'll ever meet, but it's kind of like he was even like going on like kids' TV shows and playing, and people absolutely fucking loved him. He was kind of, I don't know, you guys would never really kind of had a glimpse into 1980s kind of New Zealand kind of popular culture and New Zealand kind of society. But he was writing for a magazine called The Listener, which is kind of like, if you're British, maybe like the Radio Times or something like that.
Right.
Reader's Digest in the United States, maybe. He was writing columns just because everything this guy did was really, really interesting, really deep. He was a cartoonist. He would write these columns in these newspapers, kind of talking about, like, you know, just his insights on political stuff, but from a very, very humble point of view, very working class, very, very punk. But he was able to kind of really extend everything that he did to everybody that was, you know, within his realm of communication, basically, and whatever like mode of communication that was. In his case, primarily it was music, but he did try other things. Fantastic cartoonist. They made all of their own music videos, which were insanely cool. And so I did get a chance to meet him. I took him, actually, like, drove him to a movie theater, had a beer with him. He was doing like a movie review one time and had a chat, and he's just a very, very nice guy. No ego, nothing at all. Just somebody that our culture kind of needed in New Zealand. Unfortunately, he suffered a stroke, a pretty serious one, in 2009. And so that really, it impaired his speech and his mobility. But he has been on the mend. He's able to speak more now. He's more mobile. He can take short walks. He's got a new band together, and he's been performing, and the new band is called The Nothing, and he's now 72 years old. But, you know, just being me from like where I'm from in New Zealand, we didn't have a big kind of background in punk rock and things like that. But I think he was still is one of the like best examples of like true New Zealand punk rock. And this is just an album that I would like everybody to check out if you ever get a chance to. Some of the coolest stuff you'll ever hear.
Yeah, that's a great record. It's like everybody in New Zealand in a band, because there's so few people in so many bands.
It's very easy to be in a band in New Zealand. It's very easy. Oh. Yeah.
I just looked it up, and there was a CD reissue of that in 2015 in the US. So I'll definitely be picking that up.
Yeah,
that sounds really cool.
Toy Love is really good too, and obviously the Tall.
Toy Love I've heard, so like
I don't know. What's the first band you said? The Enemy?
The Enemy. Yeah, I don't think they have a lot of recorded material. It was probably would have been like 77, 78. Like, you know, he's kind of been into punk since day one, basically. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I think a lot of the recorded Toy Love material was previously like Enemy material. But they had a lineup change, and then when they did record, it was represented as Toy Love material. Like pull down the shades and things like that.
Right.
Yeah. Flying Nun Records has a hell of a lot to sink your teeth into record.
Yeah,
Are there Flying Nun? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't need to speak over somebody.
Oh, I was just gonna say my at my radio station WPRB, another radio station in New Jersey, somebody in like the late 80s, early 90s was like making a point to buy everything from New Zealand, basically. So we have this amazing collection in our stacks. So I think like they've introduced a good portion of the East Coast to the New Zealand music scene.
Right. I mean, we've got a minuscule population. Nowadays, it's only like 5 million people. But like when I left, I think in 1997, 1998, it was around about 3.7 million.
Lord.
You know.
The city I grew up in had 7 million people in it.
Right.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, there's 6 in Philly.
Yeah, no, it's a nice place. I encourage everybody to go there. You'll be welcome. So
beautiful.
So cheers for this opportunity. Thank you, and definitely. But the good thing is, Chris Knox is on the mend by the sounds of things, and at 72. I mean, you know, we can see positive thoughts his way, and like hope that he continues just being Chris Knox.
There you go.
Awesome, thank you.
Hey, James, I think it's your turn.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah. Am I coming through? Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I had a little technical difficulty there a moment ago. I was trying a highly experimental camera audio situation, but it was a bad idea. It didn't work out so well. Anyways, this is a cool idea. I hope it's going well for you so far. It seems like it's not the chaos that we anticipated.
Yeah. Hey.
Oh, but now Paul here, so here comes the chaos. Sorry.
Hey, not tonight. Not tonight. I'm just here to say, Mike, thank you. Yeah, I'm just here to say thank you. I love the show, and I'm gonna join the rest in the chat. But I just wanted to stop in to say thanks for this. I love it. I love everybody on here. I've seen all of your shows so many times. So no pop punk, no nothing. I'll see you guys in the chat.
You're just a cameo. I love that.
Just a cameo tonight.
Featuring Paul.
Yeah, special guest.
Right, so Paul's MRR's pop punk guy now, by the way.
I'm going to hang around for a while, and if there's a chance to do a second turn, I've got like a really kind of like insane show and tell kind of presentation to give. But for the sake of just keeping things fast and moving along, I'm just going to do a short shock here to start off with, and just talk about a little record, a 7-inch that I think actually only has one good song on it. I think some of you guys probably already know it already, but it's just one of those, like, maybe not dollar bin raiser, but a 10 euro stomper. It's this French fake punk sport. Is my camera backwards? Am I in that situation now where I have to flip it? Where do we do this at? Let's video.
Cogwheel video mirror. Boom.
Bam. All right. Hello. It's in the gear, the little gear down at the bottom of your screen.
Just press it.
Anyways, this is Vitamine or Vitamine. They're French. They're not a band. They're not a real group at all. They're a couple models/actresses that some slimy studio put together to be the face of a punksploitation group. Punksploitation, one of like the greatest genres of all time. I love fake cash-in punk. But this is like a little bit, like more on like the commercial aspiration side versus like the like in joke making fun of punk. This is maybe more like Plastic Bertrand. This was like stuff that was trying to chart. The two actresses, one of them, her name is Yasmin Dom. I'm pretty I'm pretty deep into film. I have this career life working in film for festivals, etc. I know my French film pretty well. I don't know Yasmin Dom. I haven't seen her in anything. The other person, Nathalie Rossel, also like a very cult kind of minor actress. I know that she was in a Constantine Costa Gravas film called Special Section, and a really nasty French body horror, like pregnancy horror film called Inside from like 2007. Those are the only two things I've seen her in. But there's something that they cut in the early 20s, and the A side, Any Tendresse, is just a stomper, a perfect, ultra hooky, luxuriously produced power pop track that just delivers on all fronts. Overproduced, sounds huge. The songwriting is hooky as hell. It's 2.5 minutes of just perfectly saccharine, bouncy, late 70s, early 80s commercial punk rock. Very good. It's up there in the Plastic Bertrand stratosphere of fake French, Belgian punk.
Nice.
Great EP. You can find it for like €10. Go get it.
Nice.
Thanks.
Well, I honestly thought I was going to be sat here by myself all night. I didn't think anyone was going to come in, so I had I got 20 records. So I'm going to zip through mine real quick. But I had a theme of like bargain bin 80s Japanese punk that if you come to Japan, you'll see these records. I like them. And if you ever hear, buy them. They'll be like $10 each or maybe less. I did a Laughing Nose round already. I'm going to go to the mods. I recommend this mods record to everyone. It came out in 1981. I'm going to say this is one of the first like punk records that isn't like on a cool label like ADK or anything like that. They were from Hakata, which is like Yakuza town. These guys have the like total Yakuza thing down. They're a rock and roll band. It's a rock and roll band. It sounds like pub rock from the UK. The Clash sounds like the Clash. The first song on this record is called what's it called? It's called A Song for Simon, Richie, John, and Us. Of course, Simon, Richie, Sid Vicious, So, but this is the band for like the disenfranchised youth of Japan who are not cool kids. It's the kids who've dropped out of school, who are in the motorcycle gangs and sniffing glue, on the end of the street. And it's a great fucking record. It's like I said, it's like the Clash. It's pub rock. The singer's great. The guitar player's great. He does a little bit of he's like a fucking great guitar player. And this band is not cool. They came out like 6 years before the Blue Hearts. They kind of sound like the Blue Hearts. They have more in common with maybe Anarchy. If anyone knows that band, Anarchy, they're a rock and roll band who are like, gangsters, basically, on the streets of Hakata. They put out 12 records on Epic Sony between 1981 and 1990. 12 full-length records, which is crazy. Newsbeat came up. I got it right here. Newsbeat is the second album. This is a good one. This is a good one too. You can pick this up for $4, $5 if you're in Japan. Great band. I love them. I've got all the records. I'm not going to show them all. I've got all the records from the 80s. They're all on Epic, all on Sony. You can get them all for $5 each. And the mods. There's loads of bands called the mods. This is probably my favorite band. The mods. Guitar player does a bit of Wilco Johnson on the guitar. He's a really good guitar player. Rock and roll. It's a rock and roll band. Punk band, whatever you want to call them. Fight or Flight, the mods. 1981. This is real early, But like I said, predates the Blue Hearts by 6 years. So.
Great album covers.
They're all the records look great, and what I really like about this band is they have a message on the back of every single one of their records. They have it on every record, and it says "For the Broken Kids." And they put that message on every one of their records. for the broken kids, like for the disenfranchised youth. You know, I think they're a really cool band.
Did Laughin' Nose rip them off with Broken Generation?
Maybe, could be. I don't know. But it's funny because I've talked to Japanese punks that I know about Anarchy and the Blue Hearts, and they're all like, yeah, but I've never talked to anyone about the mods, so I don't know what the standing is with the mods. But I love the mods. I've got them all, like I said. There you go, the mods. Gang Rocker, 12-inch, the live LP. This one I got it yesterday. I haven't played it yet, but I can't believe this was produced by Kevin fucking Maloney. Kevin Maloney, who produced U2, Boy on October. They got that guy in to produce this record. I got this yesterday. I haven't played it yet.
Someone in the chat was saying there's a 10 out of 10 power pop classic on one of the records.
There's a lot of really amazing songs. None of the records actually, the first record is kind of almost perfect. Every record is really, really uneven, but every record has some really, really. And they kind of get a little bit worse as you go on.
Because that's like crack to me. So if there's a 10 out of 10 power pop classic,
like first three are really good.
Huh.
All right. God, whose turn? It's Hazel's turn, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let us see. I'm gonna pick one that's a kind of forgotten Pittsburgh gem. Band that I don't hear people talking about too much, but back in the 2000s, there were a lot of Pittsburgh bands that I really liked that all sounded really different from each other. I used to go to shows there. I used to go to the Roboto ADD Fest where they would have like 10 bands play a 10-minute set, and if you went over, it got cut off and all that. And one of the highlights from them that I pulled out recently is Night Terror. It's self-titled. On Hashashin Records that I'm probably not pronouncing correctly. And I don't know how much they really got around at the time. I saw them in Pittsburgh a few times, but I don't think they ever hit Philly. And they were like really unique sounding, like ultra burly, heavy hardcore that's got like some elements of like sludge and stoner rock in it and some elements of crust in it and some elements of like a lot of different things. But it works. It's not like scattered sounding. They didn't really sound like any other band exactly, but it's a really good record. I don't know how hard or easy it is to find. It's probably in a dollar bin ripper category. I highly recommend it if you get the chance to pick it up. They were really, really good live, and this does like a pretty decent job of catching some of that like just heavy ferocity that they were known for.
Yeah, that band played me in Bill's wedding show.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, where current shitty Senator John Fetterman introduced municipal waste. Very long story. He was the mayor at the time. He's a piece of shit. And I still have a Night Terror t-shirt. They're awesome. There was so many good bands in Pittsburgh at that time. It was like almost literally unbelievable, and I lived there and experienced it.
I used to come out, like I lived in Philly at the time, which is 5 hours away, and I used to come out to Pittsburgh shows to see Pittsburgh bands on a regular basis because there were so many that I liked.
I went to probably 4 or 5 shows a week at the period of time. So. Yeah.
Right.
I think I'm next because Tony. Oh no, Tony's next. I didn't see Tony.
I don't know who the hell's next. I don't know.
It doesn't matter. I'm just enjoying talking. I'm just enjoying listening to everybody.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Whatever.
It's great. I would be listening to everybody in the comments if I wasn't on the screen. So anyway, but there's a lot of people, so I'll try to keep it tight.
All right.
I do want to say for a minute there, Jesse and his bandmates were on the screen from Hell Is Here, and I saw them play today, and they were awesome. So I wanted to shout them out since they popped up for a minute. They're staying at a house 30 minutes from me, so something like that.
Tony, you're in War Games, right?
War Games, yeah. War Games played with Hell Is Here today, just at an outside show.
Jeremy's other band, Wallbreaker, I did their demo and the CD for their LP.
Oh, nice. Okay, awesome. Yep.
And I actually just emailed you today because I'm selling you the Cero Azúcar record.
Oh, perfect. Okay, awesome. Well, I'll be returning that email as soon as this is over. And I also have to say that while I'm shouting out other people on the screen, since I saw Jesse's band today, I saw your band in 1991 in Baltimore at this tiny club, and one of the greatest things I've ever seen. It was just a room full of angry skinheads, and you basically berated the living shit out of them for like the entire set. And it was one of the most hilarious, amazing things I've ever seen. It was incredible. So
they get what they deserve.
They absolutely. Let me say that night they 100% got what they deserved, and it was incredible. So that was wonderful.
Good.
It was a good one. Yeah. Mike, I have been watching the What Are You Listening To is kind of sporadically, and I chose to jump on as a total last minute thing here. So I'm going to presume that other people have brought this record up in the more recent ones, but I have to because it's an ultimate favorite of mine recently. If anybody can see that there. Has that one come up yet already? Antenna?
No.
Okay.
Doesn't look familiar. No.
Okay. So Antenna is the singer of Royal Headache. Royal Headache, which is just like incredible.
Okay.
Yeah, just incredible garage rock band, like lo-fi, but with like really soulful kind of vocals. They put out a couple of records and toured the States a couple of times, and they seem to be getting bigger. Like each time they would come to the United States, they would do a little bit better each time. And then out of nowhere, it just seemed like the band imploded. And then just kind of like it's disappeared. The singer, his name is Shogun, did some bands after that I was like okay on, but then this record came out and it's just like my favorite record of the year. Just absolutely, like it still really keeps the serious garage rock and the very soulful vocals, but just adds this like super punk vibe to it. Like all the songs are like faster and maybe a little looser, but in a good way. It's just crazy sounding, just very catchy, but also faster, punker than the Royal Headache stuff. So, yeah, just a wild one.
He's an amazing singer. He kind of sounds like a young Rod Stewart, kind of.
yeah, he really can. And I don't know. Like, I hear things that like maybe Royal Headache got too big for him. Like maybe he just couldn't hang being in a band that was like catching that much attention. And it seems almost like Antenna is like designed to be looser and punker and faster to like avoid that type of like spotlight on them. I mean, I'm not talking with any knowledge. This is just me guessing. But the record is just so good. It's like I cannot stop playing. It's like outrageous, So, but anyway, that's my other one.
Nice. Jesus Christ, who's Daniel?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll be kind of quick on this one. This is Kamikaze Missions by Backstabbers Inc. To me, one of the best hardcore records out of America in the last 25 years. Came out in 2004. It made me actually, when Hazel was talking about Niter, like this is also that very heavy, burly kind of takes from Sludge and Crossed and stuff. I would say the thing with them is that their rhythm section, I think a couple of the dudes were in Trap Them in that band, and one of them went on to like the Red Chord, so like just super kind of technically the math metal kind of shit. So it's like the foundation of it is kind of like tragedy, like later tragedy records, like 2000s tragedy records. It's super heavy, but there's this crazy rhythm section doing cool, interesting stuff, kind of making the songs very stand out from each other and stuff. I actually got to play with them and when I was in Florida, in my hardcore band in Florida, and they're one of the best fucking live hardcore bands I've ever seen in my fucking entire life. I think one of these dudes went on to Loud Night, that band, I think out of Richmond. A couple of the dudes I think the drummer, one of the drummers that they had went on to On Earth, or like they kind of scattered, but this is to me like fucking like in the last 25 years hardcore. And one of the reasons that to me it's one of the best records is because the fucking lyrics are super awesome. They have kind of jokey, long fucking like song names, like no matter how many times you've seen Fight Club, you're not fucking Tyler Durden. But then like the song will be like kind of like like a very personal take on like political shit. They did a lot of like kind of exploring. They weren't kind of like outwardly political, but everything that they kind of talked about kind of went to like, not being a shit person and kind of not letting fucking the system impose on you who you are kind of shit. And it's a fucking fantastic record. And I think this version, the American pressing, is like a bargain bin banger. There's a CD of their earlier stuff collected, and that one's a little more loose. This one was actually produced by Kurt Ballou of Converge. So there's a little bit of like You Fail Me Converge in it. And like I remember at the time, like the reviews were very like either they fucking loved the production because it was kind of like you had to kind of find some of it, Convergy, where it just gets so chaotic that you have to kind of find it a little bit. And then there was people that like these songs are really interesting and well put together and well written. I wish it wasn't produced like this. So I think like any record that kind of you get so much kind of stuff coming from both ends of like I like it, but this or that's why I like it. Like it's an interesting hardcore record, which is also a fucking unicorn in hardcore. So yeah, Backstabber Zing, Kamikaze. It's fucking angry as all shit. So in the world that we live in and today, and with everything that's going on in this country, it saved me this morning from just fucking losing it. So yeah, Backstabber Zing, fantastic band. I love everything they did.
Nice. Anybody want to tell me who's next?
I think Rachel.
Rachel and then Kate, I think.
All right.
Yeah. I might just like do 2 records. They're okay. I can relate them to each other. One I'm going to talk about really quick, and then the other one I might talk about for too long. So on the first compilation I put out was a song by this band, Toxic Rights. I've showed their tape on here before. They put out a tape a couple years ago, and the first compilation I did was called No Genocide, and it came out February of last year. And a song from this record, which I think it might be a little different on this record, was on there. And they were like, yeah, 7 Inches coming out soon, but it shouldn't be out before the comp. And the record came out like a year and a half later for some reason. They're from Bretagne in France, like really kind of rural area. And their singer is French, but he sounds like he's like British or Irish or something. I compared their tape to like Bad Religion, like early Bad Religion, which I don't know if they would say that, but it definitely has that, like, it's melodic, it's like hit you over the head political, which I really like. I really like bands being like really sincere and direct about political and moral issues. I feel like a lot of bands aren't these days. They're a little more like oblique, and that could be great, but I love a band who's just like, yeah, I'm going to tell you what I think. And this new record, I feel like is a little more like New Model Army. Like it has this, it's punk, it's kind of folky. It has that kind of like raspy, like singing, and it's awesome. I love these guys. But another band that was on the first comp wasn't a band, it was a choir called Commoners Choir, who I've also done before. And Commoners Choir is conducted by Boff Wally from Chumbawamba. So going back to Chumbawamba War, I don't know. Maybe I've even shown this record before. Did I show this record before?
I don't remember, but that's a great record.
So Chumbawamba was on Bullshit Detector 2, I think. And so were the Passion Killers. The Passion Killers were like 15-year-old boys. And they had the song called Start Again on there. It was really great. And Chumbawamba wrote letters to everybody who was on the comp and said, hey, let's like not just let this be the end of our connection. Let's like all just do something. We don't know what, but let's like stay in touch and, you know, try to like get momentum from like being on this comp together to like do something. The only people who wrote them back were the 15-year-old boys from the Passion Killers. And long story short, the Passion Killers, 2 of them, ended up just like going to Chumbawamba's house and being like, we're going to live with you now, like going to their squat in the area where they lived, and was like, hey, can we live here? And Chumbawamba were like, you know, like these guys are like 15, 16. Chumbawamba were like 19, 20. And they were like, yeah, sure, fine. If your parents say it's okay. And their parents did say it was okay. So they moved in. One of the boys didn't move in with them. So it was Harry and Maeve, Harry Hamer and Maeve Dillon. And they reformed Passion Killers with Boff Wally from Chumbawamba, and they recorded these demos that make this record, which is called They Kill Our Passion with Their Hate and Words. And it's fucking awesome. It's like, basically, they eventually were absorbed into Chumbawamba. Like every member of this ended up in Chumbawamba, except for the guy who didn't move in. It's like, again, like really straightforward, hit you over the head. Like, you know, they've got songs about how cops suck and songs about how war is bad. Start Again is like really a kind of classic, like beautiful anthem. And it's being reissued because Passion Killers just reunited. They reunited one other time in during the first Gulf War. They reunited to like basically put out a protest 7-inch that was cover of Shipbuilding, and there was another, I forget what the other songs were on it. But yeah, they're playing a couple of shows in the UK, like over the summer. And this came out on Demo Tapes Records, which is Sean Forbes, aka Fat Bob from Hardskin, who like he put out records of demo tapes. I don't know if it's still an active label, but this is being reissued on his other label, Sealed, like right now, like just came out. And it's so good. Like it's really kind of a lost classic. They had these records for like years and years and years after they put it out on the demo tapes, like Bandcamp. Like it didn't sell out for a really long time, but I guess finally did, and they had to repress it. So,
it's a good one. It's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, it has this big booklet with a. What is this? It's like the back of the stage set on it. I don't know. But yeah, there's the whole story. It's like a big fancy booklet, tiny print. Yeah, this is great. I'm going to fucking Rebellion, which I never.
Rebellion Fest, eh?
Yeah, I never wanted to, but now I'm gonna go to see Passion Killers.
Anybody else here been to Rebellion? Paul, you been?
I went there once. We played it for 3-4 years. Oh, geez, more than a couple of years back. We played it. It was fun. I mean,
I'm sure it'll be fun.
You know, I mean, I was hanging out backstage most of the time with a bunch of older guys, weren't even in bands. They were just like friends of guys that were in bands. Just hanging out, drinking beers, busting balls, just having a good time. You know, I got to see, that's the first time I got to see the Outcasts, which I never thought I'd ever see. Splodges Abounds, you know. So you get to see some of these bands you never get a chance to see. You get to meet them. And for the most part, everybody I met there that were in bands were cool. You know, it was the last time I saw Menzie before he passed, you know, and he was a friend of mine. So, you know, I had a great time. I mean, a lot of people like to talk shit about it, and I get it. I understand. But you know what? Fuck it. You go, you have a good time. I mean, you see some of these some of these people, I mean, they're long in their tooth. Jesus, whoa, you know. I mean, you know, the guy literally old gray head with dyed blue mohawk with a walker, like, you know. It's a trip. It's fun, you know what I mean. You have a good time. You make your own fun, you know.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. And like the Mob are playing in Sounds.
There you go, yeah.
Like you know, like, and the thing about, for me, like, I don't have much interest in going to see bands that aren't like active bands. You know, like I don't care if you're old people, that's fine. But
yeah.
I haven't written a song in like 40 years. So I'm kind of like there. But...
Yeah, we were supposed to play this year, but we just canceled our August dates for.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we canceled our August dates. So we're working on a new record anyway, so stress as well. But yeah, we were supposed to do this the Thursday night or whatever. We were supposed to play with Toxic Reasons.
Oh,
and I forget who else was on the bill. And but they're gonna do maybe next year. We'll see what happens. And like I said, you go, you have a good time. You make your own fun. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of jerky people. But we played. Oh, I'm sorry. Long story longer. We were supposed to play, I think, the Friday night. I believe it was a Friday, and the band that went on before us, I don't know what the hell they were called. The singer of the band, in his infinite wisdom, decided to breathe fire on stage using gasoline. So the whole theater, the where we were supposed to play in, got filmed with these fumes. Fire department came, shut it down.
Jesus Christ.
Shut it down right before it's supposed to go on. Shut us down. You're not playing. Great. We were here for the night before. We already got paid. And they're like, we'll try to get you on tomorrow. We had the day off the next day anyway, because I wanted to hang out, see some bands. So, all right, we got you on. You got to play tomorrow anyway. We're like, oh, great, we're going to play anyway. We're going to have a great time. Okay, yeah. Yeah, we played all right. Last band, big room, right at the Sham 69. Thank you. So, big, huge, friggin' ballroom. There's maybe 200 people there. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Okay. Kate, next, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea who's next after me. Okay, I have another. This is not a heavy band. I just grabbed some stuff that was sitting over there by my record player. I haven't been catching. I've been tuning in sporadically too, but I'm guessing this hasn't been shown. But if it has, let me know. So this is the Alora Crucible that came out last year. I don't know if anyone's familiar with this project. This is essentially Toby Driver from like KO. Doing like new age music, or his version of like new age music. It's very ambient. It's very kind of lush. It sounds. This record sounds like what I imagine, like the feeling of like walking through the woods. That's kind of the vibe. The hype sticker says, "Follow echoes through the labyrinth where branches become bodies, tides form doorways, telluric forces call you to surrender." And it's on House of Mythology, which has put out stuff like Current 93 and other kind of like mystical kind of ambient stuff, I guess. The artwork's really beautiful. This is the second record by this project. And it's cool because like the first one is like electric guitar, synth, and violin. This one, Toby learned to play hammered dulcimer. So it's mainly Toby Driver playing hammered dulcimer, and then there's synth and really beautiful violin playing and some really sparse vocals. But it's really cool if you like really lush sounding music that's, you know, it's not in any way hard to listen to. But it is actually like pretty emotional music too. It's really beautiful and it's really well done. So, and it's like the artwork is really nice. There's a band photo. They look appropriately kind of like new agey with like drapey kind of photos, you know, like in the forest or something. They might have even like recorded shit in the forest. Like that's like the vibe of it. So yeah, it's a cool record. I'm probably gonna leave after this round because I keep yawning and I feel really rude, but I'll hang definitely until the next rotation.
Thanks for coming on. It's great to meet you.
Sure. Oh, also, I'm turning 40 in like really soon. Like it's almost midnight, and it's almost my 40th.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday! Very cool.
Welcome to
Yes,
the
and
floor.
Mike, thanks for hosting this. It's been fun to tune into your show. Every time I tune in, I'm like frantically taking notes, like looking shit up. Like I don't feel like I'm knowledgeable enough to like be at these conversations, but like there's so much music out there that like there's probably stuff that like there's so much music that I've my list of stuff to check out has like grown massively from.
Are we costing you a lot of money? Are you in debt yet?
I mean, the thing is, fortunately, I'm poor, so I don't have that much to spend. But yes.
Okay, Cade, were you just a viewer that you had not been on the show before?
I've not been on the show before. I've just been a viewer.
Oh,
Open in the comments. Watching.
Amazing.
Yeah,
totally. I've chimed in the comments before, but not on the big leagues here.
I was wondering if someone was gonna come on who had never been on before, and I'm really glad that you did.
Yeah,
thank you. Yeah, it's really nice. I love hanging out and talking about records, so I was like, hey, cool, I'll pop in.
Awesome.
That selection sounds really interesting to me. I don't have it anymore. I've never played hammer dulcimer, but I used to have a mountain dulcimer, and I've been considering buying a new one. I sold it during a move. I've been considering buying a new one and trying to get serious about playing that too. So it sounds really up my alley.
Yeah.
What is the difference between a mountain and hammer dulcimer?
So the mountain dulcimer is the like kind of U shape, or like I don't know, the long one that like sits on your lap, and the hammer dulcimer is like upright, and you play them differently, and they're like related to different kinds of medieval instruments or something. The mountain dulcimer you can play with like a stick or like a feather or something.
Wow.
You're like strumming across like this.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful sounding instrument. Like I wanna like get one too. I looked into it because I thought like, oh, it might be really expensive, and I think you can get them with different like numbers of strings. So if you want like all the chromatic like notes or whatever, you have to get like a bigger one, then it like costs more. But they do have like smaller ones. I assume that it's got a bit of a learning curve because like just like the accuracy to like hit the string you're like going for. But it's such a cool sounding instrument. So yeah, I think you should go for it. Maybe you can buy one like secondhand on like Reverb or something, you know.
Yep, mountain dulcimers you can get for pretty cheap on eBay too, like cheap comparatively speaking. There's like a lot of antique ones that were in like somebody's grandparents' attic for 20 years or something, and you just need to refurbish it a little bit and it's good to go.
Did you just have to like mic it, or are there like electric ones?
You can mic it. I was just playing acoustic. I never like got to the point of needing to mic it, but I've seen people do similar folk instruments where they just like put a mic on it and hooked it up to the PA or whatever.
Would you be plucking it?
Similar to an auto harp? Is it like an auto harp?
I'm not sure what the relationship is.
I just Googled it, and it kind of looks a little bit like an auto harp.
I guess they're both in the
desert. Was it auto harp that came up earlier in the Zelda side project? 10-inch?
Yeah,
is that an auto harp?
Maybe, yeah, different, like an earlier Japanese technical version of that.
Yeah,
like digital.
There's a video of the singer from the MC5 playing the auto harp on YouTube. Yeah. So after they broke up, he was like trying to do something. And, you got an auto harp for cheap, hey? Oh. Didn't work out.
Who's next?
What are we doing?
I think Paul. Yeah.
Well, I thought so too. I thought so too. I thought it was Paul's turn.
I got about 20 records from this guy.
You
can get, and not even all of them. You can get them relatively cheap. But I try to find nice copies of them and stuff. I've been collecting them for years, and it's just great, relaxing background when you're making dinner, cooking, whatever the hell you're doing. I had it when we got married. Me and my wife there had it before, like played. I had a whole list of playing before the ceremony or whatever.
Oh, wow, beautiful.
Jimmy McGregor.
There he is.
Keyboardist. Jazz keyboard is it's jazz, it's R&B, it's soul. Oh, it's back up here. Like this lady is horrible in my office. And yeah, it's a great stuff. This is one of his early albums on the old. I think it's a Hammond organ. One of mine. This record's called on Sue Records. Like I said, I got about 20 of this guy's friggin' records. He gets cranked them out like nobody's business, and it's all instrumental, and it's organ. He does like there's some originals. He does a lot of the standards. There's a lot of pop songs. And later on, he starts doing a couple of Beatles tunes and stuff like that, Rolling Stones or whatever. But all just keyboard. They're all just Hammond organ and stuff. It's just great, nice, relaxing music. It ain't gonna bother you. It's not gonna make you mad. You know what I mean? You're not gonna get annoyed by it, and you sit back. You're like, all right, Jimmy, he's playing the organ. Let him go. You kick back. It's like, leave him alone. He's playing the organ. All right, calm down over there. You're gonna start yelling and screaming all the time. And yeah, I listen to his stuff a lot. That's why I keep buying his friggin' records. I bought another one.
Wow. This
one, you can never friggin' find. It's always beat up. I got this one recently, and the cover's always ruined. And this one's actually because it's groove grease, because it's got the naked sister on the cover there in the back. See it. I got a horrible lighting.
You're dark tonight, Paul. What's going on?
I know, it's just the lights. It's like, I don't want to get otherwise I got this thing and I look like, I'm some thing over here with the freaking halo over here.
Isn't that Spinal Tap record where it was too dirty, so they made it just all black?
That's what you can't really see it. Yeah, there you go.
It's Jimmy McGriff, right? Jimmy
McGriff. Oh, and this record, to find a decent copy of this one's hard. I found a copy. I think it's like $20 or whatever. The cover's good. It ain't all ripped up, and the vinyl's nice. I finally got a copy of that the other day. And if I see them for not too beat up and reasonably priced, I pick them up automatically. There's a lot of repeats of songs on certain records or whatever. So what? You put it on. You relax. You have a beer. You have a cup of tea or whatever. Nobody bothers you. So yeah, Jimmy McGriff. For anybody just wants to relax and
was he a Blue Note guy or was he not on Blue Note?
He was supposed to.
No.
I don't know. He wasn't on Blue Note. He was on a bunch of different labels. He was on started on Sue, and then he went on to what is this? I can't read. Groove Merchant. Yeah. Groove Merchant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Groove Merchant.
I carry a ton of his records come through the store used. All of them are just awesome, funky organ jazz, just like you're saying.
Great stuff, yeah.
He's in the same vein as
Jimmy Smith?
Jimmy Smith, Shirley Scott, who's also just
Jack
like an
McDuff.
awesome...
Jack McDuff is awesome.
Yeah.
He's got I think... Doesn't he have a record with him? I think Jack McDuff and Jimmy McGriff did a record together.
Yeah. There is I might even have that. I think I do somewhere in this podcast.
I could be confusing it, but there's a record where they're both they're feeding each other hot dogs on the cover, or or sandwiches, or they're eating. I'll have to.
Sounds pretty memorable.
But just awesome organ jazz of the best.
Just great stuff.
Just totally funky.
I love that stuff. It's great.
It's nice. It's nice.
It's nice.
You know what I mean? I don't know how many. I never met the man. I don't know him personally, but I don't know how many conversations ever started out like that. Jimmy McGriff's a dick. You know what I mean?
It looks like he did have one or two on Blue Note, but I mean, this guy's got 50 fucking records or something.
There's a lot of Jimmy.
Yeah,
McGriff
they used to pump him out, right? All those guys.
Oh yeah.
What they were working
I was talking to my wife about that earlier because we were listening to one of the I think it was the Doris Duke record. How they back in the 60s and whatnot, 50s, 60s, how they would they'd record the songs and then they put they give it to the label, and then the label of course would just put strings on everything.
Yeah.
Everything. The way they want, and then they listen back and they get the record like, what the hell is this? And they'd be pissed off about it. I was just wondering, if that continued to this day, It's like that was just like what you had to do. You know, like Wu-Tang with strings. You know.
I feel like they really did that with Jimmy Smith a lot too. He made he did a great album and they like put strings on it and stuff.
Yeah, they put strings on everything. I mean, every record, every pop song you hear, they got strings, and it's because that's what the label did, because they figured I don't know what the hell they were thinking, but if that would have just continued on, you know, like, what the hell will we be listening to today? Jesus Christ, right? You know.
Yeah. There's
with strings.
I've never
actually might be good.
I've always thought about bringing it on, Mike, but there's a new guy that plays in that style of Jimmy McGriff and Jimmy Smith and stuff. He's on a record label called Coal Mine, and his name is Delvin Lamar Organ Trio, and he has a record called Cold as Weiss. And it is just awesome, kind of like mix of like Booker T and the MGs mixed with like Jimmy McGriff, you know, and it's great. It's like really funky. They play like all the old, you know, versions of the instruments. It's like it's I don't know that much about it. Like Hammond organ or whatever, I guess.
Yeah.
It
the
sounds
B3, right? The
B3,
I
yeah.
think it is, yeah. And he's got a bunch of records, and they are awesome. All of them are really good, and they are just, I mean, you know, again, when you're dealing with like Jimmy McGriff, who has 50 albums, do you need a new guy doing this exact same style? But it's fun, it's good, and he's doing them. And
never stop D-beat bands.
And if you guys were to look at my record collection, it would just be a shitload of organ jazz and D-beat bands. That's what's going on. That's what's going on over here. So
that's an idea. D-beat band with the B3 Hammond.
That would be something cool. I'm surprised I haven't done it yet.
I'd listen to that.
That's an idea.
Yeah. That might be neat.
All right, where are we going next?
James.
Thanks.
Me? All right. I'll just preface by saying I would never do this on a normal episode of Analog Attacks. What are you listening to? But since we're kind of freeform, loosey-goosey tonight, if there's one thing I love, it's when punk shows up in places that you don't expect it. And that is especially true with formats. I love like punk on strange formats. You know, there's definitely a handful of notable punk 8 tracks. There's, I think, maybe one commercially released punk mini disc, the first Damned record. But Mike, I think I know, you probably know where I'm going with this. And also, I want to say, Tony, I've heard Pray Tell.
Laserdiscs?
Yes. Yeah. Punk on Laserdisc. With your approval, Mike,
go ahead.
I would like to do a small Punk on Laserdisc. It's not a CD. It's like a CD. It's bigger than a CD. Like and Tony, I've heard that you are also a Laserdisc person. Is this true?
I am. I worked at a place that sold Laserdiscs in the 90s, but they didn't pay me enough to be able to afford them. So I basically wound up being a film fan. I was just like, well, that was the only way that you could see extra footage before DVDs, or the only way that you could see like these Hong Kong action movies and stuff. And so I worked at a place that sold them, but of course, I didn't make enough money to own them, or a player, which was like $1,000 back then.
Right, but, which is why it is such an unlikely punk format, right? Like who the fuck was buying? Like what punk could buy like an $80 to $100 Laserdisc?
The bottom fell out on the Laserdisc market when they stopped manufacturing them, and unlike records, they'll never be able to manufacture Laserdiscs again. Right. So you can get, about 15 years ago, I got a player for $30 that still works, and people were selling all their horror and foreign and Criterion and punk Laserdiscs for like $5, when they might have been like $50 new. I never could have afforded that, but now it's just like junk to most people. So I was able to put a collection together and actually, instead of just being, I know you're not either, but I think there's people that think of Laserdiscs in a more ironic way. But I'm just like,
right.
I have players, they work, the discs are cheap, and I don't like seeing movies from the 70s or 80s in 4K. You know what I mean? It's just like
it's strange. It's jarring, and they're also very dependent on how good the transfer is too. It could ruin a movie from the 70s.
The nicest I need to see a movie is 1996 Laserdisc. Or shittier is fine, but like not. I don't need to see these 4
James
things. Sorry,
I don't mean to be rude.
That's fine.
Show us some punk.
Okay. So this is going to be fast.
I don't mean to be rude, but my computer's going to die here, so I'm going to sign off.
All right, Paul. Nice to talk to you again.
Like a moron.
It's great seeing you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Take care, guys. Have a good night.
So yeah, this is going to be like a lightning round of punk laser discs. There's a few that I don't have. I'm working on a complete collection, but I just want to say, first you got to worry about like what is punk, what isn't punk. And some people would like cite the Velvet Underground as being like an important important like pre-punk group. This is their 1990 reunion tour that famously has Penn Jillette of Comedy Magic duo Penn and Teller just yelling requests up from the front row and apparently annoying Lou Reed. That's cool. And and then of course, like if you're going to get into like Lou Reed, there's like tons of like pretty okay Lou Reed stuff, maybe like middling, not so hot Lou Reed stuff, and then like really bad early 90s mullet era Lou Reed, not so hot. But there's some good 90s Lou Reed, like Songs for a Drella. I don't know if we're like fans of Songs for a Drella, but this is like Lou and John Cale getting back together and writing a little thing about their friend Andy Warhol, the recently at this point departed Andy Warhol. And this is like kind of like a real return to form for both artists, although I'm more of a John Cale guy and I don't think he has any bad records. And if we're talking about Velvets, we got to talk about this sick Nico Live 86 in Tokyo Laserdisc. But it's like you find quite often that like Laserdiscs tend to be Japanese because the format was more adopted in Japan than in the US. Yeah, so you see a lot of like Japanese only Laserdisc, so you can get like this like sick like Iggy Pop performance from the early 90s that it's I would give it a 6 out of 10. It's fine. It's early 90s Iggy. It's cool. But now let's try to actually like work our way a little bit closer to punk. One band that has a lot of Laserdiscs, and I don't have them all, is the almighty Motorhead, of course. This is I
remember seeing there was a store in Osaka that had 3 at the back of a bargain bin box for years. They were sat there and then they're gone, never to return.
Yeah, and some of them, for like the 10 people in the world that are interested in buying them, some of those Motorhead Laserdiscs are like $150 a pop, and you're not going to catch me spending that kind of money on a laser. I think the fun about collecting this stuff on Laserdisc is that, especially when it comes to like we're getting punker and punker as we go, but it's like they're rare. They're piss fucking rare, really hard to find. But if you can find them, there's no reason to pay more than like $20-$25 tops. Less than that sometimes. But anyway, so this is like, if you're going to get one of the Motorhead ones, this is like a nice cheap one. It's a best of video collection. So you got Ace of Spades, you got
one I have
Overkill, No Class. Yeah, the big one is this like birthday party celebration one that is like everywhere. That's kind of like the easiest to find one. But anyways, so you're thinking like, wow, there's like lots of Motorhead Laserdiscs. Are there any Hawkwind Laserdiscs? Yes, there's one. There's one Hawkwind Laserdisc. It's part of the series called Live Legends, which is this like budget line series that only has like 6 releases. There's like a Fairport Convention one. There's like a 10 Years After one, Uriah Heep, and another one that we're going to get to here in a moment. But this is a really good late 80s Hawkwind set. You have the Timu Lemmy, which is Alan Davey fronting the band. But I mean, like, you still got Dave Brock, you got Harvey Bainbridge, Simon House, a pretty solid set list. This is why I wanted to use my other camera that didn't work, because it zooms in and you can like read the back really well. But anyways, everything, literally everything I'm talking about in this pile of lasers, you can find in complete form on YouTube, so you don't have to track down the lasers to get it. And if you're into Hawkwind, like you wouldn't think that. I think like 87 or 88 Hawkwind sound as hard as this does, but really, really good. But anyways, let's get to punk. So there are several Sex Pistols Laserdiscs, especially when you consider, like Great Rock and Roll Swindle. There was even, it's kind of late for lasers, but there's a Filthy Lucre Live, that they're like reunion. I think it was like 94 or 96 or something like that. There's a Laserdisc of that. I'm not after those as much as I am the Public Image Limited Laserdiscs, both of which are Japanese only, and both of which, like their 83 show one is like $150 Laserdisc, and then they have one of my favorite concert videos ever, Anarchy Movie 85, their 85 Tokyo show. That's like a $300 Laserdisc. You're not going to find me buying that one anytime soon unless I get lucky. But a band I don't really care for that much. But I literally don't own any Clash records, but I have to own a Clash video compilation on Laserdisc. Just I mean, why not? I'm not going to like totally shit on the Clash. A couple of tracks, but that's like a. Like if you took all the track, if you took all the Clash tracks, you have like maybe an LP worth of tracks. But but yeah, it's just not for me, not for me. But that's fine. But if we're talking about like the big three of first wave British punk, which that would be Sex Pistols and the Clash, and to me the Damned. Yes, there is one Damned Laserdisc, Final Damnation. This is like 88 reunion where they come out with the original lineup, first LP lineup. This is the first time they came back with the first LP lineup, not including the recent shows from a couple years ago. This one has two different covers. This is the American release NTSC with this like really like antiquated
LP.
Yeah, exactly. It looks exactly the same as the LP. Yeah, there's actually kind of like a less common version of it. There's another one that has this like cool picture of Dave Vanian that's like sort of this like silhouetted shot of him in from the audience from the back of the stage. I think it's the exact same show, but it's just a cooler cover. So I now have to buy them both, unfortunately. But anyway, so that's sick. Getting back to the Live Legends budget line series. So now we're getting into like some like really kind of juicy shit. There is a Buzzcocks Laserdisc, and this is also a 1988 show. This is not rare. This is you don't have to go to Japan for this. This is an American release. You could probably find one on Discogs right now for like $20. This is like 88. This is like, I like all Buzzcocks. There's not a bad era of Buzzcocks, I think, and their album from like the early 90s, Trade Test Transmissions, I think is like super neglected. But this is well before that, and kind of like a release wise sort of dead period of the band. But I mean, it has everything you want to hear. Noise and Noise, Say You Don't Love Me, Why Can't I Touch It? Everybody's Happy Nowadays. It's just like classic set list, only like 10 years after the fact. Still plenty of energy, professional recording, multi-camera setup. Why that exists, I have no why. Like, I mean, it costs tens of thousands of dollars for a professional film crew. They're playing in a huge. Like, why was there that much money behind the Buzzcocks at that point? I don't understand. But anyway, so then you get kind of like more into like, well, let's talk about
how many
Japan.
Do you have?
It's coming quick. It's coming quick. So I'm going to skip these. Japanese punk bands have lots of laserdiscs because it was a viable format. So obviously you have an X Laserdisc, and to bring it back to what we not punk, but what we were talking about before. Is like Blue Hearts. Blue Hearts, I think, have more Laserdiscs than any punk band, including the Sex Pistols. This is like a this is like late. This is like a 1994, very late period. Blue Hearts. You have like a Tour 88, Pretty Pineapple Laserdisc. You have like a straight like this is what I like best when it looks like the first album. Blue Hearts Live. This is the one. This is the one. If you're going to get any Blue Hearts disc, but I got to say also, you've heard of 8-inch records. Did you know that there were 8-inch laser discs?
Jesus Christ!
There are two 8-inch laser discs that the Blue Hearts put out. They're video compilations just to like show you like what an 8-inch laser discs look like.
That's almost a weird. CD, Mike.
Like a big CD.
Yeah, it's getting close. It's getting mighty close. But Blue Hearts have two like video music compilations. This is like all their videos, 87 to 89. So you get like Train on here, and then there's a second one. But anyway, so you would figure like Zelda got pretty popular. There's a Zelda laser disc.
Wow.
If you're into Zelda, you would probably be into it. If you are a fan of Japanese oi. There is a Cobra laser disc, and it's good. Like this is like a long one. Most laser discs are like 1 hour shows. So they only actually fill one side of the laser disc. This one fills two sides. This is a long ass set from like 89, I believe. now we're getting to the meat. We're wrapping up here. But this thing that looks like some sort of weird fucking, I don't know, like new age mind's eye kind of thing is actually a live performance by Laughin Nose called Vizio. And this is one of not one, but 3 Laughin Nose Laserdiscs. And if you look at the set list on this, it's pretty sick. It's all like kind of faster, harder Laughin Nose. They're not doing Broken Generation. They're not doing Take It. There's like nothing from the first, the second LP, the first major LP. It's all just kind of like, you still get the Glory, Can't Trust a Woman, but it's more of like a thrashy set. But the one that I was looking for that was like a major want list item knocked off for me is Laughin's Not Dead. This is them. I think at Club Kita in Kawasaki. It's the first LP. I think it's like 85 or 86. This show is actually 87 or 88. But it begins with this whole like 10-minute segment of crowd shots and just like young teenage punks, late 80s, kind of like suburban punk rockers hanging out, doing their thing. And then the creme de la creme, I think, is, and this is my last one, there is a Stalin Laserdisc. Last Live was released on Laserdisc. Nice. And this one's like a real pain in the butt to find, but it's the Stalin on a format that most people can't watch, and that's cool to me. There are a few others that are worth noting that I don't have. There is like still like one other Laughin Nose Laserdisc. I also have to like say there's a DRI Laserdisc that I'm still looking for, and there's a Suicidal Tendencies Laserdisc that is like $300 that I'll never own. But I like weird shit. Punk on Laserdisc, that's odd. So
hey, Mike,
that's it.
There's a Napalm Death Laserdisc also.
Yes, there is.
Which is heavy on my want list, but it's also like $300. So.
Yeah, there's like a 2 of like a metal compilation video magazine too that were Japanese only, that has like Celtic Frost and like Venom, and I cannot remember what the title of those are. But yeah, I mean, yeah, when you're getting into like metal, there's a lot more.
Corruption set.
Yeah, it's like Harmony.
I have that CD. That CD goes for like $100.
Yeah.
All right. Do we want to do?
Thank you for indulging me.
That was very informative.
That's great. It was nice. Nice. Do we want to do one more round and then everyone got at least one more record?
I'm okay.
All right.
I have to tap out, but
okay, Kate.
Watching. Hey, thanks for having me, you guys.
Thanks again. Happy birthday.
You were awesome, Kate.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Yeah, have a great birthday.
Yeah, I hope to see you on here again at some point so I can find out about more intriguing sounding records that I've never heard of.
Me too.
That's my favorite.
Cool. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'll put my Instagram in the private chat. I don't post a lot, but I do post about like stuff I'm listening to. So.
All right.
Hey, cheers, all.
All right.
Thanks for coming on, Kate.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. I can go 2 ways now. I can go with I had a Japanese band that sounded like The Clash, so I could do a Japanese band that sound like The Damned, or I could tie in with the last Laserdisc pick.
I think The Clash, just because somebody just talked.
No. I already did the Clash band that sounds like The Clash.
That was the mods.
The mods.
Yeah.
I have a Japanese band that kind of sounds like The Damned. Let's do the Stalin thing, because I had Michiro Endo Part 1 and Michiro Endo Part 2, but there's not been time, so I'm gonna go through the Part 2 part of my presentation that I thought I might have to do if nobody came on this show and I was just sat here alone. So everybody loves the Stalin, I assume. What's your favorite? Anyone have a favorite Stalin record?
Mushi.
Yeah.
Mushi.
That's the best one, I think. They're all great.
Mike, I'm not a huge fan.
But you can still join in. It's okay. Has anyone heard Fish In? Okay. If you're on board with Fish In, and you could sort of go a couple of steps further than that, you're going to like what I'm going to show. Bear with me. So, basically, Michiro Endo's solo projects. I'm missing out Part 1. This is Part 2. So this was his first solo record, which originally came out on Takarajima as a cassette. with a much better cover than this. This is a pretty horrible cover, but of course, Captain Records did this. I'm on a big Captain Records kick recently. I love the sort of the light as you can go with still being punk from Japan in like 85. This is a punk record. You know, like Dance Macabre from Osaka do that like kind of bad version of Born to Be Wild. It's just been put out on that compilation or that album that like General Speech did. I didn't know. Well, I did know, but Michiro Endo did a version of Born to Be Wild too, but he did it like fucking Stalin style. It's fast. It's good. It's like it wouldn't, if it was a bonus track on a mushy CD or whatever, you wouldn't be complaining.
Wow,
it's great. And he also does a version of like I Want to Be Your Dog, but he doesn't actually credit Iggy Pop or the Stooges. He kind of does his own thing with it. He slows that one down to like a sort of mushy style dirge and kind of steals a bit of the riff. That's amazing too. And this is a great record. This is like a punk record that kind of sounds like the tail end of the Stalin. And this is the most expensive one of all the Michiro Endo like solo records. You won't really find this in the cheap bin, but it's out there. This one.
What year did that press come out of that one?
This, okay, I did write it down because I thought I might be asked. I did write
Sorry.
They're an affordable CD version.
86. But 86. The tape came out like in 84 when the Stalin was still going.
Right, okay.
On Takarajima, which put out the Punks tape. Everyone knows the Punks tape. Gizm, Laughin' Nose, Lip Cream, that tape, right?
Go, bro.
Yeah. So this is like the Captain Records version. I don't like the cover of this. It's kind of like a blurry photo. But this is like a punk record from Michiro Endo. This one is also kind of a punk record. This is called Bankruptcy. And I suppose the most interesting thing perhaps about this record is the cover, because the photo was taken by Masayoshi Tsukita. And of course, we all know who Masayoshi Tsukita is, don't we?
Do we now?
He also, amongst others, but I just chose one other photo that he took for an iconic record. He also took this photo.
Oh, wow.
So, same photographer. A lot of money going around in Japan in the mid-80s.
Yeah.
Let's get the famous photographer guy who did David Bowie's Hero to take a picture of Michiro Endo just for his solo record in 1985.
From pretty much the same angle, too.
Yeah, it's similar, right? But they kind of messed around with
a slightly higher contrast. Just a little bit.
I would have preferred to just see like the original photo.
Yeah, same.
Right. Again, this is sort of like it's. I mean, if you know "Fish In" by the Stalin, it's pretty close to "Fish In." This one is a mind-blowing record. If you know this one, "Terminal."
Actually, I don't.
Okay,
I've seen it.
This is like the first song is 11 minutes long. So like, and there's 2 other 9-minute songs on it. It's bleak, dark dirges that you would get on like Machine. It's heavy. This is a heavy-duty one. It's a Terminal on the grotesque new pop. Again, 500 yen. You can find $6, $5. This one is kind of a 12-inch that came out on the same time. I like this picture much better than the one that was taken by the famous photographer. And even the one on the picture on the back is better than the one that the David Bowie guy took too, right? This is a better picture. Same kind of thing. 4-track, 12-inch. Now, the Stalin. Fish In. Perhaps that's everyone's cutoff point, right? There's no kind of Stalin from the 80s after that, right? There is. This one. Joy. This one doesn't show up too often. It came out on Alpha, who put out all the Yellow Magic Orchestra records. Kind of big, like, major label. this is wild. This is a wild record. It's like starts off kind of like the Stalin, and then there's an 8-minute kind of funk workout called International. And the topic of the funk workout is Ben Johnson and the 1988 Seoul Olympics scandal, in which he was robbed of his gold medal after he was, tested for drugs. So it's basically slap bass, dance funk, industrial funk with this guy saying,
industrial
Johnson,
funk?
gold medal, doping. Johnson, gold medal, doping. It's amazing. Honestly, it's amazing. So if you're in Japan, you never see this record, pick it up, because I think nobody knows about this record outside of Japan. It's real, I think nobody really knows there's another Stalin record in the 80s, after Fishin. But there is one that's called Joy.
Is industrial funk a thing?
Right?
Now I want to hear it. I can't. My brain is just not making.
It's like what the Germans were doing. It's like Pill. It's like there's a bunch of German bands that were doing it, right? Like really like slap bass. Lots of heavy drums.
I'm gonna have to look into this.
I know. Maybe my description is a little bit off, but you got to hear International. It'll blow your mind. A 9-minute rant about. I'm not sure if he's against it or for it. I can't figure it out. I don't know if he's angry about it, if he agrees with the judge's decision. I'm not really sure. They don't really.
Just documenting it.
Don't
come down on either side.
Yeah. That's my. I had a ton more, but that's going to be my last one. All right, Hazel, what's your last pick?
Mine's one I posted about before, but never talked about on here. It's halfway through 2025, so I'm now at a point where I feel like I can talk about what my favorite records of 2024 were, because I've had time to really digest things and see what sticks with you and what doesn't, and what's immediate, wow, this rules, but you don't really come back to it. So one of the ones that definitely is in my upper list for favorites is this Deathcharge record that came out.
All right.
Portland, death rock, goth, very the Cult and Sisters of Mercy. Really cool cover art, this fun kind of spooky night scene with the big moon and lots of purples and stuff like that. It's this beautiful, beautiful record. Really good songs. There's songs on this that's super gloomy but still get stuck in your head. And I never really listened to this band until 2 years ago. I always knew they were around, but I didn't actually pay that much attention to them until I saw them at Skullfest 2 years ago and was blown away. And then this record came out and I got it and I thought it was really awesome. And now I'm sort of doing the backward voyage into their other records, but top notch, one of my favorites from last year. Also highly recommended.
Cool.
Have any? What? I saw the D-Beat era Deathcharge open for Disclose 2005 or whatever, before they turned into the guy. What is death rock Deathcharge like?
Really it's not D-Beat at all. It's that kind of sung, sort of howled vocals. The singer definitely has a lot of the Cult vibe, the swirly scarves and the gesturing and stuff while singing. Doesn't sound like D-Beat or hardcore at all. And I have actually not really listened to their D-Beat era. I'm very much in this era. I remember reading MRR reviews of them as a D-Beat band, but never heard them. And then I forgot about them for a while. So for me, this is their era, and the D-Beat era is some other thing.
At Skullfest, didn't they do a D-Beat set and a death rock set? Did you only watch?
Did.
Oh, wow.
They did two different ones, but I only went to their death rock set because I went to the goth show, and then their D-Beat set was Sunday night. And the Sunday night they usually have some show upstairs, and then they've got the downstairs crust dungeon show, which I usually just camp out at because I usually want to see all the bands, and I tend to watch full sets, have some time to digest in between. So like going up and down and up and down and up and down. Like if there's bands I really, really, really like, I'm not going to do that. So I missed out on that.
Right.
I know I've heard D-Beat Deathcharge, but I feel like they've been replaced in my head by Keg Charge. I don't know.
And Drug Charge and the rest of them.
Afghan Head Charge. Yeah.
Yeah, the DB era of Deathcharge I saw was great because they do one thing that just like a stage thing. I think the records are okay. Live, they just blew me away. And a lot of it is because like they keep the mic on the mic stand. The singer would just kind of like this prop, and he's sort of like falling all over it, like he's like sort of drunk and like barely hold on to the mic stand, and it just like looked like the whole thing is about to fall over at any point. It wasn't just carrying the mic, and it added a level of showmanship to the whole thing that I thought was pretty sick. I would say like maybe one of the better like DB band live sets I've ever seen.
Gotcha.
I would believe
but
that.
I skipped the death rock era completely.
Yeah, if that's similar to the showmanship in that, like that crosses over. That sounds really familiar.
Mike, I don't think you were here for this, but I do love it when bands change like that. When they just do that changeover. And one year, I went to Nagoya, and it was like a Kawakami show, and they Poikus played.
Oh.
And I think it wasn't even just me being completely like, disconnected in America. I think even maybe this was at a time when even the Japanese punks did not realize that Poikus had kind of changed or whatever, because it wasn't like just me going, whoa. It was like, I think kind of everybody in the crowd.
Yeah. And I don't know what happened. I think they were like, we're kind of bored with like doing Finnish hardcore now. Let's try and do some like early 80s like Japanese like metallic hardcore now.
Well, he just came out wearing like a flowy pirate shirt. And like that, just like a white, white.
I want to say it was his. I want to say that it was the singer's idea to do this.
Yeah. Just the shirt. I mean, they didn't even need to start playing yet. Just the shirt, and people were just like mouths hitting the floor.
Last long, like 1 7-inch, then they broke up. So
yeah. I mean, I think the original Poikus EP is like one of the fucking. I'll have to qualify it as like best like Japanese Finnish ripoff, best kind of late 90s, early 2000s. It's like one of the best Japanese hardcore EPs. It blows me the fuck away. And they lost me when that second EP came out. I like on paper when I read about it, I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be a cool progression. But
no, I didn't.
It didn't connect.
All right.
Flowy
Rachel,
pirate shirt sounds about right.
I'm okay with the pirate shirt. I'm okay with.
Okay.
Yeah, that's always okay, regardless.
It was wild.
See, puffy pirate shirt.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't hating. It was just wild.
Actually, one of my other picks was going to be about puffy pirate shirt.
This goes full circle because there's a Wyrd Laserdisc, and I meant to bring it up, but I didn't. So.
Quick digression. Post All Krusty's Spending Loud Night, I just found I got a box of early 2000s Maximum Rock and Rolls that had been in storage. I've got them back at my house and been perusing them. And there's one that's got a write-up from an All Krusty's Spending Loud Night that I was looking at. And then I look at who wrote it. And it's Jesse, our esteemed colleague. It's beautiful. It was a full circle moment.
I tried to get him in, but he kept and now he sort of said, I'm not letting him in. I didn't do anything. He just coming in, and they would yeah. So
they were having fun.
Whatever, Mike.
It's okay. It doesn't matter. Whatever. All right, Rachel, you have another record?
Yes, I have another record. I went upstairs to get it because I ran out of records a little while ago. So this is a record that I've had in my pile to show probably at least 2 or 3 times when I've been on this show. It's one of the 2 punk records that I had on tape when I the first punk records I ever had, punk albums I ever had. And when you posted about this show, I made a joke referencing this record fucking classic. It's a great record. Don't forget the chaos. This fucking record. What? I'm so glad this was my first punk record. Like
that was your first punk.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I think I might have shown it as a bonus or something. These punks, this vampire. Why? What's going on?
Wow, I think they played a trick on him, didn't they? They were like,
Yeah,
everyone's going to dress up as a vampire. So make
He's
sense.
like-
Yeah. When did Dave Vanian join the Exploited?
Yeah. That's like Wally or whatever he's called, like the other one. But yeah, it's like I like to imagine that they were like, yeah, we're all gonna dress up like famous monsters.
That's what happened, right?
Yeah.
Fuck us.
What's going on?
Like, I have this on a dubbed tape that like my neighbor made for me when I was like 12, and it opened up a world of magic for me. And it's like the crazy, like it sounds like it's like echoey, like the crazy like kind of killing joke songs that are on here. Like
it's amazing.
They have some of the best drum sounds.
I don't think anyone's ever showed the Exploited at all. And actually they're playing Rebellion, but I'm not going to be there that day, which I'm kind of sad about. But maybe I don't want to see them in 2025. I'm not sure. Although they put out like they were putting out good records in the 2000s. Beat the Bastards.
Yeah, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind
great.
of it's good. I like it. And fuck System's good too. But,
Yeah.
Beat the Bastards was my first Exploited record I ever listened to in completion.
Wow.
It's a weird place to start, but it's a good, really good
Those horror epics though. Too, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I learned about Margaret Thatcher. Like,
do you think what happened was like they went into the studio like, hey guys, we've got this like new this new technology. We can make your drums sound like. Like
it's not just the drums. I mean, the drums definitely sound. I love the way the drums sound. Like,
yeah,
it's
me
weird,
too.
and it's not like punk really, but it sounds so cool. I honestly do think they were like, we need a new direction a little bit, and like we're gonna go industrial. Like, and they just like put stuff on there. Yeah, I want to cover "Fuck the USA" in my band. I'm lobbying
Please
for it.
do.
The lyrics are still very relevant and not as stupid as a lot of.
No, right? See,
I hate cop cars. Me mom.
Not stupid.
That's evergreen.
Yeah.
I do hate them. I hate cop cars. Yeah. Anyway, I love this record. I will stand behind the Exploited, like 100%.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're like production people in the chat, but like I've heard about people talk about like drum triggers, like if you're in the studio, like you hit the drum and it like triggers another.
Kate is a production person. Are you still around?
Yeah. Again, is that what's happening on this record? It's like there's some sort of like electronic augmentation more than just like miking the drums and making them sound funny, right? Like it's hitting a MIDI thing or something.
Yeah. I'm familiar with triggers just because I've been in black metal bands and stuff a lot, and like the accusation is the way that I became aware of it is that triggers were like, so it was easier to trigger that sound with the pedal. So like they wouldn't have to actually go all the way, get an actual natural into the drum. Just kind of the pedal would. So the triggered thing was kind of an accusation of like, you can't do blast beats. You're fucking triggering your drums. So like that's how I know it.
Enough. Yeah. So it's not fast or anything. It just sounds weird.
Yeah. So I don't
like
know.
Unnatural.
I think it also reminds me of like In the Air Tonight and shit like that. Like I think that's like it's like gated drums. I think is what it's called.
Yeah,
gated. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, that's like that 80s, that like quintessential 80s.
The synth drum sound.
Yeah. Whatever it is, sounds cool as fuck.
Classic. 10 out of 10 record in my book.
And like Dangerous Vision. Oh, I love this.
Is that the Belgian pressing, or I've only got
Is that
the Belgian pressing? That one, that seems to be the one that shows up all the time.
It says Do Records. I don't know. It's got a barcode on it.
Oh, it could be the Dojo Records.
Oh, it's Dojo. Yeah.
Dojo. No.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But Mike, remember how you used to do your like ranking whatever band's records videos? You need to do an exploited one. That would be great. I would like to hear like
you and I. Let's do it.
Oh, I'm not enough of an authority to say.
All right,
but I want your opinion.
Me and Rachel will do it.
Yeah, you and Rachel.
I don't know if I could rank the other ones. This one's number one.
The
other ones.
Don't give it away. We haven't done the episode.
It's an episode. Oh, okay. All right.
Don't give it away.
Oh, you should like one of those like tier lists of the exploited. Those are real popular on the YouTube right now.
Things.
No, if you want that sponsorship money.
Tony Pence. What's it?
Yeah, since I'm suspiciously quiet through all this exploited talk, because since James admitted to not liking the Clash and putting himself out there, I'm gonna say that I've never. I did buy that exact record at the mall, for like $1 when it was like they were just getting rid of records when it didn't matter. I don't remember what year, and I just for some reason I've never been able to like the exploited. I just don't love them.
I'm with you, Tony.
Yeah, I just never really felt it. I don't know why. But I probably bought that record because of the Dracula covers. Probably. That was probably just like
my interests.
Yeah. I was just like, well, this can't not be good. But I just wound up never really liking them.
Yes, I think there's a puppy marriage.
Maybe, yeah.
As there should.
As a super poser, when Deep Sleep played our very, very first show ever, it was opening for the Exploited. It was Deep Sleep, Government Warning, and the Exploited in Baltimore. So, but I was probably out back talking to somebody when they were playing. I wasn't. I wasn't feeling it. So I don't even know what year that was. That was like in the mid 2000s or something. So I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I'll keep this ultra short. There's a brand new Inmates record, which is crazy. Let me see if I can get it in there. Yeah, that's awesome. It absolutely rips. It's so great. I think Iron Lung put it out. And just got it a couple of days ago. So I don't have a lot to say about it. I'm still spinning it, but it is awesome. And then just today, they reissued a record that was I loved this record when it came out. And I'm just so not punk since I was just coming off of talking shit about the Exploited. Hold on a second, if I get it in there. They just reissued the Afghan Whigs Gentleman. Which I just absolutely love this record. It came out at a time that I just needed to hear it, and I was lucky to see him on this tour. I think at the old 930 Club whenever this record came out, and I've just always loved it. It's like a really hard one. I have an original downstairs, but they just did this new version, so I felt like I needed to own both versions of it to compare them. But yeah, it's a hard one. It's like they had never really reissued that one. It was one. They jumped from Sub Pop to like maybe Electra or something for this record. Sub Pop and Electra.
Tony, relative to like the Twilight Singer stuff,
love it. Yeah, also love it.
But like,
sorry, how does it sound? You mean?
No, like time wise, like relative to the Twilight Singers.
Way early. Yeah, super early. Because there's just this is probably I think this is the third Afghan Whigs full length. There's Congregation up in it. And then maybe this one, I can't remember. But then after this one, there's like 2 more major label records. Then they break up. And then there's Twilight Singers are like in that era. And there's also the Gutter Twins and some other bands. But this one is incredible. And it's weird that it had been out of print for a long time. Maybe because the Electra end of it, I'm not really sure. But it was a hard one to get for a long time. But they just reissued it, and it's a really cool record. I feel like they should have been bigger than they were. They had like one music video on MTV, and that was it. I mean, people liked them, but they didn't really do anything. They just kept putting out records, and they became less and less.
Movie, Beautiful Girls.
Oh, are they really? Okay.
Yeah, there's a bar scene where like it's like in a small town somewhere in the winter, and they walk into a bar and fucking Afghan Whigs are playing in the bar.
It's a real hard record to describe musically. He's got like a great soulful, cool voice, but it still has like a real sharp edge to it. it's a neat record. I'm not like musically verbose enough to like describe what it really sounds like, but at the time it hit me super hard, and then I saw them live and I was just like, whoa, this band is just awesome. And I followed them, from the next couple of records and the Twilight Singers and the Gutter Twins and everything that they've basically done.
It has this weird like downer soul music vibe to it.
Yeah, downer soul music, but it also doesn't seem like he's not trying to front.
No.
He's doing real soul music. You know what I mean? It's soulful.
Yeah.
But very, very interesting record. All of them. I like all of them, but this one's my favorite. And it just came back out today. It just got issued. So, all right, that's all I got.
Beautiful.
Okay.
James, you have a record?
I think it's Daniel, isn't it?
Daniel.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry.
I'm gonna continue the poser vibe from Tony.
Yeah.
I have two that I want. One that I want to do quickly.
Shame.
I'm gonna do a Fat Wreck Records record.
Right. Could go either way.
Is it Snuff? Oh.
No use for a name.
Snuff is the best.
No use for a name.
No use for a name. Making Friends. One of my favorite punk records of all time. Tony Sly, the lead singer who passed away really young, and it like breaks my heart. He is one of the greatest fucking songwriters that ever touched punk music. This record, in terms of like catchiness, uniqueness to the songs, the themes, the whole feel of the record, I fucking love No Use for a Name. It's insane to me that Chris Dodge was in this band at one point.
Right?
Yeah.
I have those 7-inchers, and I'm like, how did
time?
Yeah, but yeah. So I've been listening to this. So in the spirit of admitting my poserness, I fucking love a ton of Fat Wreck, and not Snuff, like the shit that everybody hates, like Lagwagon. Love that shit. But the one that I really wanted to talk about was this. This is Guapa by La Oreja de Van Gogh. So for Spanish speakers, this is one of the biggest bands in the world.
Wow.
They're a pop rock band from the late 90s from Spain. I would equate them to Roxette in the early 90s, in the late 80s, early 90s. And I'm also a huge Roxette guy. Love Roxette, love Per Gessel, and Marie while she was still alive. So this is pop rock. This is a reissue from 2021. It's on Sony and Columbia at the same time. So very on punk. But the vocalist, that's their first vocalist, Amaya. She's fantastic. And then this dude, Javi, he is a musical genius. He writes everything. He's the keyboardist in the band. This record is nominally pop rock, but it's so well done. Like the Roxette songs sounded like they were like fucking beaten to death somewhere till they were like pop perfection.
Wow.
This is that, but better, more complex, more calling on like the Kinks and the Beatles and Roxette and like everything that's come 80s like Spanish pop music and shit. There's a song here at the end which starts as a bossa nova song, becomes a disco song, and finishes by like a mariachi, like horns and everything song. It's I fucking love. I love all their records, but this is like a height of like incredibleness. And they play stadiums when they tour Latin America. I saw them in a stadium in Miami because they're such a huge Latin, and they were fucking fantastic. And they're like a 5-piece. There's a keyboard player, guitar player, bass player, drummer. It's always been the same musicians. They at one point changed vocalist, and now they're like changing back. It's like this huge thing that's in like all the like what's the word in English? I'm forgetting. Like the paparazzi magazines, the fucking
tabloids.
Like everybody's like, yes. The one singer left and she got kind of kicked out, and she was at a show and she started crying, and a whole stadium of people were like telling her they loved her, and now they think they're gonna get back with the other one, and like it's a whole thing. But just like for the value of pop music, for how good it can be, the complexity in these songs, and they're love songs. And actually, there's a song on here. They have a couple weird songs. There's one on here that is this like upbeat kind of rocker song, and it's about a North African mother having a conversation with her daughter about like, I'm gonna try to go to Spain to make a living so you can have a future. And it's like a pop song. And like on one of their recent records, they have this beautiful upbeat pop song, and it's a mother with cancer telling her child that she's not going to be around anymore. And like, it's just, they go places that pop music shouldn't be allowed to go. They famously did a song when there was that terrorist bombing in Spain about, and it was on a Thursday, and it's a song called Jueves. And it's this girl talking about how she's in love with this guy on a train, and it's a normal ballad pop song and stuff. But at the end of it, they kind of get together, and she gives clues that it's on the day of the bombing, and they're about to go into the station where the train that they're on is going to go. And it fucking kicks you like a mule.
Wow.
So La Oreja de Van Gogh, like, I'm sure like Spanish punks fucking hate this shit. And I've heard the like Per Gessel Must Die song from, I think the S13 did that. But like, I love pop like this. I love music that can just fucking go wherever it wants to. And I think like the songwriter in this band is amazing. So this was the first time it was on vinyl, 2021. But there are like, of course, 100 versions of this record. It came out in every country in Latin America, on CD. And I think this is the only version on vinyl, but it's like super available everywhere. But it's expensive.
What year's the original release?
2006, I want to say, 2004.
Okay.
But yeah, so
that's awesome.
That's my last.
I don't know anything about it.
Daniel, let's just give another little bit of a shout out to this one.
Oh, okay.
This is being, I don't know if it's being ignored. People are not talking about this record as much as they should be. I mean, I've showed it.
It's my favorite thing I've heard all year.
It's very good.
It's
so awesome.
It's literally like, as you know, like when I put something out on the label, every cent that comes back goes back out to animal rescue. So that's vinyl that I put out with like no financial. I was just like, this needs to have a version in the US.
This is amazing. It's like, I talked about it, badly, but I did talk about this record on the show a few weeks ago. But if you haven't picked it up, pick up. Daniel, you still have copies? You got a few left?
Actually, I think so. Tony is picking.
Tony has.
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Yeah.
Not yet, but he's
I think
gonna
I
have
ordered like 10 or something. Maybe?
Yeah, and then Grave Mistake Records has them, but hasn't put them up.
Okay.
Alex.
And I Dead Tank Records is gonna have it soon because I'm plumb out.
Will there be a repress?
There might be. I'm trying to see if maybe I can get some more over from, because there was a couple labels in Spain that did it. So yeah, I'm in conversations to get some more over.
Cool. Well, I'm going to take what you got.
How many did you press? Like just 300 or something? Or
yeah, it was 500 something,
okay.
And then it was so there's like copies in Japan, in Switzerland, in Spain, and then what I had in the US.
It's pop music, I know it's punk, but it's pop. It gives me
like,
the same feeling the Carey record did, the Blue Hearts do. It's just that I don't know.
It's so good.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. And Mike, you posting about it is what let me know about it.
Already? Okay.
I didn't know about it on my own. I saw your post about it, and then I listened to that song, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm ordering these immediately. This is right up my alley." You know, so,
it's amazing.
So good.
It's good. All right, that's it. I think the experiment kind of worked.
James.
James.
Rachel, you saved me. I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to be polite.
I was going to say, like,
just because it's the usual clockwise thing. Daniel's there.
No, I get it, Mike. You're trying to cut me out. Look.
You're trying to silence
you cut it out for me since day one, Foster.
Because they like digital discs, Mike.
I do apologize.
yeah, exactly. That's because I chose Laserdisc. Okay, I'll be quick about my pick, but I will say because someone asked in the chat about Gizm's Subjects and Egos chopped on Laserdisc.
Yeah.
99.9% sure it does not exist. I'm not really sure like where the rumor came from. Maybe it was planned to. Maybe it was even like advertised.
It was planned. I remember seeing like ads in Doll magazine and stuff. I'm sure back in the day.
Yeah.
It didn't happen, so.
Yeah, but it didn't come out. There's actually there's a very nerdy Wikipedia style site called Laserdisc Database where you can search by any search criteria, and it seems to be a completely like they went to the manufacturers of Laserdiscs and uploaded their. So like if it exists, it is on that website, and it's just not there. But it is really fun to like think of like a band and like, oh, do they have a Laserdisc? Like someone asked about like a 999 Laserdisc in the chat. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't thought about that one. Yeah, that might exist. Anyways, yeah. So my last pick is laserdiscdatabase.com. Go check it out. No. So I was down to two records. One is like a peripheral release by like a solo demo recording release by a figure in a foundational hard rock metal band. I think I want to hold on to it. If we stick on the chat and talk afterwards, I would love to. I'm curious, like what you guys think about it because it was recently reissued. But until the next time I'm on like an actual episode, I'm gonna save it for that and talk about something that is like just like very left field and like not punk, not hard rock, not Western, but just like kind of like satisfied another part of like music that I like listening to. Whenever I talk about like non-Western music, I try to say like international music or international folk music. It's a hard thing to talk about because love him or hate him, David Byrne in like the late 90s wrote this essay called "I Hate World Music," and this was like when he was running like not forming, but like Luca Bop was in full swing. He was releasing like what distributors and record stores were calling world music, but that's like a very like Western centric term. Like world music just means like anything that's not Western pop music or and so like I don't know what to like say when I talk about like non-Western music. I'll say international music. But anyways, when a lot of what led me to that kind of stuff is an interest in psychedelia. Something like maybe like started with like the far-reaching ends of like rock and getting into like krautrock and then like weird like earthy like folk musics. And realizing that there are these like very like psychedelic qualities that you can find in music that is not Western influence or attempting to be rock or psychedelic or Western at all. And this is one of like the primary examples of that. And also when you start buying a lot of like these like international folk recordings, you see certain imprints that are always reliable. And obviously like Smithsonian Folkways would be like one of the main ones. But another one that if you ever see, because they always have these like standardized covers that all look the same, right? And one of them is the Atlas series, and that's what this is. If you ever see this, like any record, doesn't matter what it is, that has this blue and a big yellow thing and like a circular photo or whatever, buy it. It's going to be cheap. Don't ever pay more than $20 for one of these. Guaranteed it's going to be interesting. But this is, I think, the best of the entire series. This is authentic music of the Snake Charmer. And it is, it's not field recordings. It is a group. It's Iqbal, Yogi, and Party. You think snake charming music, you think like India. This is actually Pakistani, although snake charming music originated in Egypt and across Northern Africa. There's a lot of it, and a lot of it like, whatever you think snake charming music is, like you like watching like old Looney Tunes and like do 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 and like a snake comes up, like that's like a Western interpretation. You can probably find stuff that's like that, but this will blow your fucking mind. This is again not studio recording or not field recordings. This is a studio recording. a lot of times you don't know what you're going to get when you're going through these kinds of series, and it might be like very, very, very lo-fi recordings. This is produced. This sounds incredible. You could say it's the horror epics of snake charming music. It's like it does have that like kind of like severe flute lead that's going on, but then there's like this like chorus of hand drums behind it that is absolutely hypnotic. It's technically eight songs, 5 on one side, 3 on the other, but the way they kind of just like all mix together, it's the kind of thing you just like throw on when you're smoking dope or you want something that's going to be like not too engaging. I want to call it background music, but like something you can like talk about how good this fucking music is that you're listening to over, but you're not gonna be like interrupting lyrics or any like crescendos or anything. It's like it hits a groove and just really takes you somewhere. And like it's like vaguely danceable actually, like it has a beat. It's something that like I throw on. It's like be charmed. Like we're all snakes at heart, and like I will throw this into the middle of like a. No, we all got a little of that snake in us, I think, and it's like it takes the right tunage to like pull it out.
Bring it out.
And like I will drop this into like New York City bar DJ sets in the middle of where I'm playing like krautrock and like glam and like psychedelia, and then like throw something like this in, and like it turns heads, and people are into it, and like it's like very, very, very accessible. So if you've ever wanted to dip into something that is like a bit more esoteric or like world music-esque, but you don't want to like listen to field recordings yet, or you don't want to get like too primitive or far out, this and this is on Spotify, so like the you can't really see, but IQBAL JOGI Iqbal Joji. It has a different cover in the digital form, but you can listen to it on Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. Give it a shot, and it'll rock your gourd. There's some really, really, really beautiful, cool shit. Pakistani, late 70s, I think it's the recording.
I had a Turkish. I've still got it actually, but it's way back there. It's like a Turkish like belly dancing music compilation, and that was like so psychedelic. It's wild. It's wild stuff.
Yeah,
hypnotic.
Yeah, I like hypnotic, and like finding all the places in culture around the world where that quality comes out somehow is just fucking fascinating to me. I love it, and it has a way of making, like, once you're attuned to it, it makes unfamiliar music seem more familiar in a way.
Yeah.
And Mike, it's also on YouTube. So
yeah, I will not touch Spotify, especially recently.
I wasn't a Spotify subscriber, but then I heard that the owner just started a military industrial complex company of some sort. So I was like, well, you got my money,
you must know what he's doing.
Keep us safe. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I was a big supporter of the IDF. I just thought that like I wanted to start giving Spotify my money.
I think that worked.
Yeah, listen to it on YouTube. Give it a different evil corporation.
The lesser of three evils, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
There we have it. It worked out pretty nice. I had a great time.
This was awesome.
I thought I was going to be sitting here talking about 80s Japanese major label punk by myself. So thanks for coming on. I think this is cool. I might do this again. I kind of liked it.
It worked really well. I thought it was going to be nuts.
But it was kind of nuts at points. We'll get to that
in a good way.
Next week we're back to our usual programming. 3 newcomers actually. Salmo.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
Yay! Salmo, Steve Bukowski, and Dominic Martinez coming on. 3 newcomers. It's going to be a good show. Next Friday, July 11th, 10 p.m. Eastern. Be seeing you then. We're going to carry on chatting a little bit, I think, after the show. So we're going to be sticking around. Thanks for tuning in. I did have some problems, like the room was full, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. We had a great time. Anarchy, chaos, and destruction. Free-for-all, whatever. All right.
And don't.
Until next time.
Until next time, don't forget
what
the
are we
chaos.
going to do? Any new slogan? I'm tired of saying stay clean. Any new slogan?
Yeah. Don't forget the chaos.
Yes. Until next
Don't
time,
forget the chaos.
stay healthy and